if there was shit flying around and there was remnants of like certain technology that was there, like why are we only finding fossils of dinosaurs? Why aren't we finding a fossil of an aeroplane? You know what I mean?
Hooray! Is it the pink button?
How do we look? Yeah, the pink one.
I think we look alright.
Pink
Yeah,
one.
we're all in.
I can't see.
Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, but you're just blind, so.
Do the
Boom!
It's cracking, bitch.
Welcome back to another episode of FireCast. I'm joined with my two hosts, Joey K, aka the Arabian Prince, aka the Egyptian Thunder God. Also joined by DZ, aka White Spice, aka the Vanilla Sandstorm.
yes.
We are here joined by Jimmy.W, Mr. James. Let's go, baby!
What's up, boys?
Woo! Let's cheers to
Been a
that,
while.
everybody.
Just quickly,
Welcome to the show, my friend. Been a
Thank you,
long
sir.
time
Thank
coming.
you.
do you have a stage name have you ever like thought that far ahead? No.
Nah,
Jimmy
nah,
Too
nah.
Huge.
Jimmy.W. It is.
That's a man.
That's my Instagram name. But
Yeah.
just to clear that up, everyone thinks that that's a reference to my dick, and it's not. And I've said it to certain people, and they're like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "No, seriously, it's just fucking. I'm a tall dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't mean I'm like. What kind of person would it be if I have a reference to how huge my dick
Yeah.
is? Not
You
in
set
my
the bar
Instagram
so high, like automatically. Yeah, you're like, it's too huge. It's like, what's too huge?
name. Yeah.
It's just too huge for you, dude.
So we'll go around. DZ, how was your week? How's work? What's been going
Good,
on?
man. Same old. Can't complain. Yeah, same old, man. I work Monday. I'm at work Sunday to Thursday. So just been at work. Today is my day off. Good day, man. Happy to be here. Happy to have you boys here.
Yeah,
Joey,
100%.
yourself?
Yeah, just working, man. Trying to save a bit of a mozza for this Europe trip coming up. So I'm trying to, batten down the hatches and going out tomorrow for a 30th. But then that's it till Europe.
To Europe,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
That's the only shit
yeah,
thing,
just
eh?
like-
It feels like everything's on hold because of Europe, eh? Like,
Yeah,
I can't even go get frangos and shit like once a week like I used to. Like,
Yeah, but also it's been my whole mood though. This whole build up to Europe, it full changes. I don't know, like not that my work ethic is bad. It's a good work ethic all the time, but like I feel like I switch on a bit more when I'm like, if I have a goal to save towards whether it's going on a holiday or this and that, I'm like, I know how much money I need. I feel like that's good enough motivation. But
yeah.
How
Yeah.
long have you got till you go?
I think 3 months,
Fuck.
just over 3
Yeah,
months.
3 months
It
exactly.
all goes so quick, bud.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's scary as because I'm like, I know I have enough money, but you always freak out, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, just keep them busy.
Yeah, bro. James, how you going, bro?
Man,
how
I
was
wish I
work,
could-
bro?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah?
Today was all right. I knew I had this on, so I kind of got in early,
Yes.
left early.
Yes.
Wanted to make sure that I was, I got a haircut.
Yeah.
I didn't want to rock up, not looking the part. But no, yeah, good week, man. Work's busy. Work's heaps busy. So
Good, that's good.
It is. But it's manageable busy. It's not the kind of busy where you
It's like
you're
freaking
getting
out and
home
shit.
just to go to sleep to wake
Yeah.
up in like 5 hours and go again.
Yeah, good. So, I guess first question I got for you, bro, is so for those of you who don't know, James is actually Sally White's partner, who she does, Heal My Health, and she's come on the podcast a few times before. But James is also a musician as well.
I play instruments. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you're a musician. You're a
Same,
musician.
same.
You're a muso at heart, bro. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that first because we were having this very interesting conversation because we all went out on the weekend, and me and you were having this interesting convo where you were saying like you and your boys had that band, and when you were making music, you were like, fuck, like this is it. Like with this sounds hectic. We got it. We're gonna fucking sell albums and shit, and then just nothing sort of comes of it. And we're talking about that. So if you want to just to elaborate kind of on the whole music thing in general, like have you always been able to play instruments, or did you like teach yourself that shit?
Nah, so my old man gave me a guitar for like my birthday when I was maybe like 13 or 14. I didn't ask for it, and like all I listened to was rap, you know what I mean? So I remember it like coming into the kitchen and there was a guitar on the bench, and I was just like, fuck am I gonna do with this? I don't want that thing. Like you can't play fucking rap songs on a guitar. Like kind of kept going with it, and eventually probably 6 months in fell in love with it, and then that developed into, you obviously if you're playing music, you start at school in music rooms and shit like that, and then found other dudes that wanted to join bands. So, and it was probably like at that 15, 16 where you first start making music, and like you write like your first song, which would have been like me on guitar, someone else on guitar, and like some real rough drummer, you know what I mean? Which it was. But when you hear it back for the first time, which you record it on a phone, like it's dodgy as, but you're like, whoa. So like we made that, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of where the spark comes, and you're like that, well, if we can do that, like that's it. And you're a bit biased, like that sounds so good, it sounds so amazing. And then that kind of developed, and I went from band to band to band. I think somewhere along that line, you know, you kind of realize you're not going to make it, but like what the reality is of it.
Yes,
you know
it's
what
harsh.
I mean? And it is a harsh reality, but you know, it then shifted probably more about, instead of trying to make it or trying to make money from it, is just enjoy it. Like
It's like a hobby.
yeah. Like some of the bands, we got to the point where we got to tour. Like they were only small tours and stuff like that, but we got to go to Brisbane. We got to go to like rural and stuff like that. So I look at that as I probably wouldn't have gone to those areas if it wasn't for that. You know what I mean? So it was a good, like the times we had were sick, you know. It's certainly not, I think quickly it became more about enjoying yourself in it than that. But, you know, it is a bit of a shame, because even I remember the first like EP that we ever did in one of the bands, and that was one of those moments. It was the first time we heard it back through like quality studio recording.
Like, big speakers and that.
Properly done. And then we're all like, yeah, nah, for sure. We're going to be on Soundwave. We're touring 100%. And then, you show your friends love it, you know what I mean? Of course they do. And then you put it out, and back then it was like, it wasn't the way it is now, where you kind of sign up to these places and it just gets like
distributed to fucking
those distro
100
kit
bloody,
and stuff like that. It was, you can put it on, not even iTunes, it's kind of like MySpace and stuff.
Yeah.
LimeWire.
Yeah. And then it goes out, and then it quickly fades away. You know what I mean? Because, it's not as bad as it is now, where I've struggled to keep up with music now. Like every Friday, there's fucking 5 new albums that I've got to get through. So when a new piece of music gets released, it's so hard for it not to get lost.
Yeah.
But back then, it still did it. And in saying that, I still have all the albums. I still listen to all of them. I still love them all. So if nothing, it's still music that I love and I get to keep. So yeah,
that band culture's always interested me, man. Because like, how do you? I've never understood it. So like, you find a group of dudes who also want to make a band, and then what is it like? Every Thursday night, you decide to go to this dude's garage and you just play music.
That's
like,
exactly what it is. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So we had different places we record, like practice. One was at like a studio in the back of like an air conditioning like workshop, kind of like my workshop, but it was just like in the back corner. It was the drummer's mum's boss, you know what I mean? Because musos love each other too. So they're like, oh, these kids are trying to start out. Let's like, help them out. They can practice. And yeah, like it was every Wednesday, you know what I mean? And then,
it's like a movie or something.
Yeah. And then it, you will then get other people that, maybe, the drummer might decide he wants to start, join another band. So there was a time where he, one of the drummers and the guitarist went to another band, and then they needed a guitarist. So they rang me, said, "Oh, do you want to come join this band as well?" So
everyone's like poaching each other and shit. Yeah.
And it's funny because you get a bit like, I remember when our vocalist, who's one of my best mates, Raz, started doing vocals for another band, and I was like,
Can Raz sing?
Was it Raz was the vocalist? Raz was the vocalist.
Yeah.
What?
Raz sings.
Holy.
well, yeah, he's like a metal vocalist, so he's like a screamer. Yeah, you would
Right,
never
and that shit actually apparently like it takes skill to like, because I can just
hard.
scream right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'll sound like shit, and I know you won't like something to do with your vocal cords.
Yeah.
So that is like a talent, but he just doesn't take me for. That's so funny because often so I find people that are into that type of music are calm people.
Yeah.
Like I used to carpool with this guy who looked like a fucking Jeffrey Dahmer, but a kind version. But yeah, like, and then I got into his car every morning, and then the first morning it tripped me out so much. I got in and it was just like, "Rah," and I'm like, what? And this guy's sitting there. Like, I'm like, bro, what? Yeah, fuck. So yeah, he doesn't take me for the screamo type, but yeah.
And that is the case. Everyone thinks that as well.
Yeah.
I remember we'd be playing shows, and like in between, like we'd be playing death metal music, and then in between a set, like it'd stop. We'd like tune our guitars, and then it'd be like Raz. He's like, "All right, guys, how are we?
Yeah.
Have we had a good day? You know what I mean? Like, and then it was,
Imagine if he was always just like, how are we?
well, that's kind of what you
stereotype,
expect.
Like,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy. So you said you went from band to band. Is this literally with different people? Or was it kind of you, Raz, and maybe another mate always hopping between, or were you literally like just bouncing around?
No, like it kind of like overlap. So like it'd be like originally there was like me, another guitarist, a bass player, and a drummer, and then me. One of the guitarists left, which was the other one. Then another one came in. Then that's when Raz became the vocalist, and then bass player left. So then more came in. So I guess it's only because it's from my point of view, but I was the mainstay through those bands. Because I didn't join anyone else. But other people came in and out.
Yeah,
and then it just kind of gets to the point. It was just like classic thing, the bass player had 2 kids.
Yeah.
His missus was like, you got to come in, and then the guitarist, or the drummer didn't get along with the vocalist, and so that was a bit funny. And like I was saying to you on the weekend, I'm like, it got to a point where it's just in my nature to organize stuff. But like I was organizing the gigs, the recording, the flyers, logos, everything online, like all of that. And it was just that everyone had their own life. So it's like it got to a point where I'm like, man, I'm doing all of this.
So were you the only one doing with you? Yeah, because it would get like that. Like someone takes the ball up, and then I think naturally they just drop off because they're like, James has got it.
Yeah,
and you're pretty organized and stuff. I feel so. It's like they just trust you, but it's like, it becomes more of a hindrance on your own life rather than theirs. But it's good that you have those memories. Like it's like it's not all for nothing. It's like people don't do this shit like music or whatever just to make it big. Like you do it maybe in hopes initially, but then like. Yeah, if you had all these good times and shit, that'd be mad to like...
Just fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I still have like the studio at the factory and I write guitar, bass and drums in that. And then I'll get Raz to come in and do like lay vocals over that as well. So there's still like the outlet as well, you know what I mean? But without probably, I can miss a couple of months and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And it's just for me. It's not like I don't
you still have fun doing it.
100%.
So these days with the music, where does it go once you record? Are you like still releasing anything, or is it just you keep it in a USB or something?
It's literally on like my SoundCloud. So like I'll like track everything on Cubase, do it all. Maybe that takes an hour, maybe that takes a week. Then if we do lay vocals, Raz will come in and do that as well. I usually just mix it down, save it to SoundCloud, and then never do anything with it.
Have you thought about releasing it?
Yeah,
Trust me, I've been speaking to this guy last year about it. I was like, man, make a distro kit.
I don't think I've heard any of your stuff. Like legit, I don't
pretty
think.
gnarly,
Unless you played it for me and it actually was you, but like,
no. It's Sal always says that to me. She's like, could you just like get it onto iTunes or Spotify? You know what I mean? Like
Just
at least,
release it. It's no skin off your back. It's very easy for no money, and it's just. Like it's so much easier to listen to too for a lot of people.
Yeah, I have a DistroKid account. Like I set it up and did one song, and then that was it. And it wasn't because I wasn't interested. It was just like, hey, I'll get to it.
On the back burner.
I wanted to make maybe like a 5-track EP. You know what I mean? And so, but then you get a bit meticulous with it, where it's like, well, that one doesn't really fit. Maybe, and then you start analyzing it, and then time passes, and that one's a bit old. So you go, but the drums are different on this one. So
is an EP? Sorry, is an EP like?
Like a baby album.
What does it stand for?
I think it's classified as under. Is it 12
minutes or something of music?
Oh, I've always wondered when people say EP.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was niggling at me. I heard you say EP. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I know what it is. It's an album, but
exact meaning is.
I think LP is the long. Like that means long play. I don't know what the E in EP stands for.
Extended play. It's extended play.
It is. Yeah. EP stands for extended play, which is
so they have heaps of songs.
Which is typically between 2 to 5 songs under 30 minutes EP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically every SoundCloud rapper is an EP. No one makes albums anymore. Like I think, Chris Brown and that still make albums. Like Chris Brown released a fucking whopper last year. That was like 28 songs or something. That's an album, but every other cunt is a fucking EP.
Yeah, okay.
But we just call them albums. Like I'll make EPs, but I just call them albums. It just sounds cooler. Like you know what I mean? Like fucking.
Well, albums. Yeah, albums usually these days are like 12 songs.
Yeah, I like a long album.
I like the old school long albums. Like remember when Park was making like 20 song fucking vinyls and shit, bro? Like that shit was cool.
I like
man.
skits. So like there's certain ones where they're not songs. They're just like
little random bits of audio. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Like
bro.
Kendrick has mad ones in when was it? I think it's his dad, and he's like. He went out to get some weed.
Domino's or whatever.
Yeah, Domino's. Yeah. He's like, hey, I was some Domino's. Like, he's old man.
Logic's album, recent one. Have you heard it? It's really good. It's a fucking good one.
Yeah,
bro.
I've heard a lot of good things
awesome.
about that.
That's a mad album.
And it's almost like he always goes on about being biracial or whatever.
It's a meme.
But he does it, and he always makes it work somehow because everyone gives him shit because that's all he talks about. But it's like.
What's he mean biracial?
His dad's black. I mean, like you'd think it was like
black.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't think Logic come from his balls at all. But then the mum was obviously white, but then it came out looking like Logic. But he speaks. His whole demeanor is black though. It's so strange.
Yeah, that's weird when that happens. When like you got like one parent's of strong color and the other parent's not, but the kid just gets one.
Yeah. It's like not half in the middle and shit. Fucking. So with music anyway, do you see yourself like you said? Is it always going to stay as a hobby, do you reckon, for yourself now? Or, like, do you see yourself when you have kids one day going, all right, this is the studio, you pass them down the guitar and that? Or do you feel like you could still maybe fucking have a mad crack at fucking...
Nah, like, I reckon it'll always play a part. And I think, getting it's really relative to the amount of time, and it's such a classic thing to say, oh, I got no time, you know what I mean? But I just like to do things 100%. So like if I can't do it at 100, I just do it at 0. So if I can't invest it, but I should, because, you know, like even, you know, Sal's dad, like I can, you know, do stuff with him. Music, like I've got all these outlets to do it. And when I do jump back into it, I'm like, what the fuck? Why haven't I been doing this?
Yeah,
you know, it's like an itch that you didn't know needed scratching until you do it. And you're like, you know, but I think certainly as, you know, work tapers off, when it's a bit more time, you know what I mean, then that's probably the first thing that will start to creep back in. Like it's always been the one that's been there. There was a period, I think, after the band's finished where I didn't even really pick up guitar for like maybe 3 years.
Oh,
like, yeah. Just
really?
Wasn't interested.
That long?
Yeah.
Fuck.
They got put in storage when I moved, and I was just like, yeah, I'll get it. Or I'd get it out and I'd be like, it feels clunky, feels wrong.
Yeah,
you know
wow.
I mean?
3 years.
Yeah,
How were you after 3 years? Were you rusty as fuck? Or were you just like do you forget a lot of shit? Or you just like your timing's off? Because I could imagine forgetting chords.
I feel like you can never forget it.
It's like riding a bike.
Forget.
Yeah.
But remembering all the chords was so fucked. But so how were you after 3 years? Shit.
Yeah, certain things definitely forgot. But it is weird. There's like a certain part of the brain that, you know, that stuff just gets compartmentalized in. And it's not like you have to keep revisiting it. It's just when you're kind of there, it's like, you know, it'd
Muscle
be like
memory.
Yeah, yeah, it really
Crazy
is.
how that happens though.
Yeah, it's a trip, man. It really is.
I agree, bro. Because like with the whole like muscle memory thing. So like I said, because I haven't been making music like for a while, like the past week I've just been pumping out the beats and that, and I'm just sitting there going like, fuck yeah, like this is hectic. Like this is literally the itch I needed to scratch, bro. And I'm just having so much fun again making beats and pumping out beats, bro. So yeah, I exactly understand what you mean when it like with the whole itch that you didn't know needed to be scratched, bro. Like I feel like especially with music, it's one of those things that you could go for so many years and you might forget some things, but you will sort of never lose touch with your musical self, like that soul. Because in your soul, deep down, you're a musician, right? Like that's just how it is, bro. So
you'd never give it up. It's not. I couldn't see a point where I just decided it wasn't a part. You know what I mean? And I'd never beat myself up, even in those 3 years. I wasn't there like anguishing over it or like being like, what are you doing? Why aren't you? I was always like, I know it'll go back.
It's always there.
I know it'll go back. It was just like an old friend you haven't seen. It's like when you go back and see him, you're like, everything's just exactly how it was.
Exact same.
Something I'd love to do with you is because you sent me a beat a while back. Remember that? And I really was going to do
Linkin Park type shit.
Yeah, but my computer died. I lost everything. But I'd love to do like, we've never really done it, live instrument. In some of our beats and stuff. We could even just get you to play a guitar riff in the background of the track, you know, because the live instruments and music, it just adds, even though like the listeners never know, it just adds something, you know, like
even like a solo something. At one point, just like,
bro,
you always,
seriously.
like the beat's always there, but then like usually it's a climatic verse, but instead of like the verse, or there is a verse, but after just taking it away, taking it out. It's like, wait, what guitar do you play? Bass or
all of them?
All of them.
Yeah,
electric.
But
electric?
Man, like,
Do you play electric?
Yeah.
I could fuck to electric guitar. Like seriously, like it's I fixate on electric guitar players.
Yeah, that and the saxophone, man. I reckon saxophone.
Oh my
God! But if you need to have, number one sexy instrument,
do you reckon it's a saxophone or guitar? Electric guitar.
Saxophone.
Eh?
Only because it's so not rare, but it like when it comes out, it comes out.
Yeah,
and
it's so funny that like. It's so sexy for for girls if you play saxophone, because it's kind of like the closest instrument that you would play. Like it's almost like you're sucking a dick or something, or you're doing something just like that's like. Maybe that's the flute. Maybe that's the flute that's like more. But oh my god, it is fucking funny.
This guy's got half the trumpet in his mouth.
Bro, it is a weird, like when you look at him play, bro. It is kind of weird. Going like it's such a weird, like some people, different ways you hold instruments. It's like what the fuck.
You seen the epic sax guy?
Yeah, bro. What is it? Full humping and shit.
What is it? The epic sax?
You haven't seen epic sax guy? It's like
a meme from like 2002 and shit.
Oh, he's really into it while he's playing it.
He's like humping the sax and shit, bro. It's crazy, bro. But what I would love crazy, bro. There's like 10-hour loops of it and shit. And I just watch them. No, not now. Like me and Brad used to just laugh at it at work and shit.
That's so funny.
What I would love to do with James is, so have you heard of the band I Prevail?
Yeah.
I want to do shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's like metal, but like not as hard, like with the screamo. The screamo's just like sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
Because I like screamo, but not when it's for 4 minutes straight.
Yeah.
I love when it's just like, so you know the song like Bullet for My Valentine, Hand of Blood?
Yeah.
generic as, but bro, shit like that. Oh,
weirdly enough, that was the very first song we ever covered. In the band that Raz did the vocals for. So,
really?
Because I was a singer in the band originally, couldn't sing for shit, still can't. But no one ever told me that. And then like this is when the transition where we were kind of going from like just kind of a singing band, and we were like, ooh, maybe we should try this like screaming stuff. And Raz could do it, so we would try. We got him in, and we played a few gigs with it. And so like I would sing the verses, or no, the chorus was the clean vocals, and he would do the verses. I think that's how it went. But yeah, that I know what you mean. That
I would love to do shit like that, bro. Honest, man. Yeah, just fuck. We got to go to his studio, man, and just watch you lay down some shit, bro. We just fucking go from there. We just need a couple of like 4 guitar riffs, and we can make 4 different songs out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? It'd be fucking crazy.
Even like EP.
Even if you send us stuff, like, you know what I mean?
And you can just bounce off that kind of
How
thing.
long would the riffs have to be, like, each, if you were doing something like that? Was it like, when you say that, you only say 4 guitar riffs? Would that just be like
4 separate melodies? Kind of thing.
Yeah. There's I think I can't remember if it's I'm forgetting the song, but it's a Tech 9 or Ritz song, and at the end they do that quite a lot. Tech 9 on the label, they do get full on guitar solo, so it's full rap track, but there's a hard guitar solo at the end. Like,
he does, eh?
Yeah,
he's pretty unique with his production of music. I don't know if he does it or he gets someone to do it for him, but
Tech 9, it loves like rock heavy,
he
man.
does.
So there's a lot of weird, like intertwining the rap and that type, like mixing genres is cool. There's a song they do called Make Waves. It's Tech 9, Ritz, and Chris Calico, and it's like a famous, I think it's the Slipknot guy, and the core, he does the chorus. It's a full screamo chorus, but 3 really fast, hard rap verses. It's fucking mad. It's a sick song.
I'm going to listen to that after.
A lot
It's a
now
mad
that
song.
are blending it, you know what I mean? Like, it was pretty rare back in the day, but even you go back and listen to like old Cypress Hill albums, like they used to have heaps of like drums and guitar and that kind of stuff, and like heavy stuff too. Like it was, I don't know what albums they were, but there was a few of them in there where they like, and even when they played live, they would have that as well. You know what I mean? So it's been around for a while, but I think with today's day and age where it's so easy to be able to mix, you know, different genres, you can get a producer in his room that makes fucking amazing music that can do rock, rap, and the whole show together, which is fucking mad. You know what I mean? Because you can blend it so well now.
Music's changed a lot, eh?
Yeah.
If you think about it, you really think about how much, like, you don't realize it as it's happening, but now you look back, it's like, fuck, music is so different.
Me and Chloe, because on Netflix now they got the Elvis movie, so we watched in the movies and that,
movie.
bro. Again, it's like that Motley Crue movie. The way they actually become famous is fucking spin out. So this Elvis, this kid, it was this white kid who grew up in a black town, and that's how we discovered jazz. Because as most people should know, that basically everything comes from jazz. Like jazz was one of the main first OGs. Like most chords and progressions and that all stem from jazz chords and shit. But so Elvis, when he was a kid living in this black country town, they'd play the blues and that, and he fell in love with it because he was always around it as a kid. And then as he became a teenager, he was singing songs like people were literally saying in the movie, they're like, why is there a white kid singing black music? And people were freaking out over it. And that's how he got so fucking famous, bro. And girls were frothing it because he danced like a black guy.
And full sensual as well. Like,
bro, I'm telling you, like he was like, and the music he was making was nuts, bro. And then, because back then it was just like, he went on tour with this, like the country singer, and he was literally on stage, this white guy, like, I don't wanna fucking do. And then Elvis would come on afterwards and be doing this crazy shit, and everyone was there to see Elvis, not the main guy. So then that's how we got fucking famous, bro. Yeah. Like that shit's fucking.
It is a really great movie, eh? That Elvis
bro.
movie. They
Austin
do it.
Butler, sexy cunt.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but see how they
I'd
made
suck
him.
his saxophone.
It's crazy. He's like hotter than the actual real Elvis. And Elvis back in the day was a fucking stud,
like
bro.
a spunk,
back in the day, he was a stud. Like,
Bro, the best part is that because he did the hip thing, you know what I mean? And like all the older generation were outraged.
Yeah,
by it.
yeah,
That was scandalous, you know what I mean? And
because
like
girls are frothing.
yeah, headlines saying like Elvis the pelvis. And
Yeah.
like,
Elvis
the
the
world
pelvis.
is losing their shit.
Because I Google, like I was trying to do some research on Google and that, and I was like, fuck, were girls actually like
Yes.
wetting their panties? Bro, and
Yes.
there's videos, footage of girls fainting and stuff and then it clicked to me what I realized, what a lot of the articles on Reddit were saying is that, so you know how nowadays everyone knows that sex sells, right? So everything in this day and age has some type of sexual aspect to it. Where music video clips, as bitches fucking twerking on stage, and that there's some type of sexual thing that grabs the attention. Back then, there was no such thing as like sex appeal. This is the 1940s. This is during World War II and shit. There was no such thing as sex appeal and someone being like sexy. There was no such thing as that. So Elvis come out and was doing all that dancing with his hips and shit. And the girls are probably just watching his fucking dick in his pants or sway left to right. And they're going, what the hell? And that's why people were so outraged, because all these old dudes are going, why is he fucking around and
probably
moving?
jealous as well, right? Because their misses are probably like going like,
bro,
because they hadn't seen shit like that before. They literally hadn't seen shit like. And like, do you know, one time he actually ejaculated on stage. No, you can look it up. I
Like,
swear, hand on heart. In the movie, it's the one where he wears the black. He's wearing a full black version of the white one. And Tori told me this actually, and I was like, we're watching the movie, and I'm like, and she told me, I was like, there's no way that guy came on stage. How do you ejaculate on stage without any? But like, and then he's like, no, look, she looked it up, and he literally, and in the movie, he's doing this. He's getting really into it in the movie. I think he was hitting the drugs a bit as well, whatever.
Yeah.
But he was getting really like full sensual into it, and apparently he like came. So there's one point of his performance, I swear to God, where you know how he always goes like, oh, he would have actually been like, oh, like legit. You can Google it. I know it's like I'm talking shit, but he came on stage. That's when you know you love your craft, when you're coming on stage. But how good he?
How good he?
His manager fucked him, bro. I wanted to. He pumped his manager.
The Colonel,
like,
bro. The Colonel.
Yeah, that's just sad, man. When you think about it, like he manipulated it, and it happens heaps.
It's manipulation.
But wasn't he the same equivalent of wealthy as he would have been today? But back then, I know he was only worth 7 mil or 5 mil by the end of it, and he could have been worth more had his manager let him go overseas to do concerts.
Yeah.
But because isn't it crazy? He didn't do one outside America.
Yeah, he never left America. Yeah.
And because he was like fear mongering him, saying like the manager was like, "You don't want to go.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
The world's on fire. All of that. Like, but like he had the opportunity to like travel the world as a musician, and someone took that away from him just for money. Like, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, no.
But fuck.
Didn't he die on the toilet as well after like?
Shit. With like some copious amounts of drugs in his system.
Yeah. Not just that too. Apparently, he used to suffer from really bad constipation. So that's why they reckon he died, because he would have been.
Isn't that from the shit he's taking?
I'm not too sure. I probably just a poor diet in that.
Yeah,
Probably eating fucking Kentucky Fried
he got
Burgers and
fat
shit.
and
He
shit,
got fat and shit, but apparently he used to get real bad constipation to the point where like he wasn't shitting for like weeks. And then you can look at this shit up too. And then so then that's why they reckon he died. So he was trying to shit after like a week or so of not shitting. He was off his guts on coke and whatever, and he was trying to squeeze it out that bad that it made his heart just go.
Fucking
So he died trying to squeeze out a turd. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Like I shouldn't laugh. But
I'm not trying to laugh, but like, you know, like that's the worst way to die. Like, you know, when you're on there squeezing the shit out, and like that's how cunts get hemorrhoids and shit. But
God,
it killed him.
May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, that's fucked, bro. But so you said you toured a little bit. Do you remember much of that, or?
Yeah. Like when I say tour, like we would just book, say, like 3 or 4 shows in, like we did one in Brisbane. We did one in
prison.
Brisbane.
I thought you said prison.
Prison.
Entertaining the fucking inmates.
Oh, and you said you organised those yourself as well, mostly.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Because we're yet to get one of those cranking. I've done shows now, but
we haven't tried very hard.
yeah, but I would love to know, like, how
we
do
didn't
you
finish the other question though, right?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Elaborate on both.
It was just more that we travelled to like different areas. It was always like the regional, like we go down to Goulburn, but then if you were good, like if you could, you'd like book with a couple of bands. So like, and this is to answer that question, but you know, we would get another 2 bands or something, and then you'd get in touch with venues or promoters. It was fucking hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're trying to find the right person, then trying to tee up weekends where it would work, trying to find the right, you know, everything to, and then also the band members to be available. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, because then all 5 dudes, plus if anyone else is coming with you, you got to be able to go. So you had to wait for kind of all the. But basically, again, back on the MySpace days, like you would be DMing
Every
dudes,
cunt,
you know, other bands, being like, or once you kind of struck up a bit of a friendship with another band, you know, if they were going to a show, they'd try to get you on the bill, vice versa. You know what I mean? So it was certainly like a networking thing, and certainly something that at the start it's like you just fucking pissing in the wind. Like, you flick out all this stuff, you get nothing back, or then people would like say, yeah, we're going to book you on a show. and then it doesn't happen.
Never hear from her.
And we had that a few times where like shows would get cancelled, especially because like if we're like a part of like a metal concert. I remember Port Macquarie one year we were meant to go up there, and we got all the way up there, and the venue was a church. Yeah, and like the headlining band is Diada's Murder. So like once the church got wind of that, they're like, nah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that shit happens, you know what I mean?
And that hasn't changed about music. People still everyone talks, and don't do no action. No action. You can try your hardest to organise all this shit, and 80% of the fucking cunts you talk to are just talking shit, and they're not going to give you nothing. They're just fake fucking, false promises by everybody everywhere. Yeah. That hasn't changed. But if we tried hard enough, I'm sure we could do our own show if we wanted.
I don't need, like, there used to be gigs every weekend, like St Clair Rec.
Yeah. Now it's nothing.
All of that. I'm out of it now, so I don't know, but I'm 95% sure that they're not. You know what I mean? There's like if a big band comes to town, you'll get maybe say 2 or 3 supports that get a spot. But there's no Friday night at Penrith PCYC with like 200 emo kids running around. Like,
that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, it was fucking mad. Like it gave an opportunity for bands that were shit or starting out to like get exposed and try to get in front of people. And like even if they weren't good, they still would have loved it. You know what I mean? Like, you're the king of that castle at that moment.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. It's so sad. It's just Sydney though. It's just here. That's what's fucking annoying. It's just here. Like Brizzy, they're popping off, man. They're doing shows every fucking fortnight and shit. Those cunts, bro. So fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's fucked. So now I want to divert a little bit now. So you also, for people who don't know, you've got your own business. Yeah. Talk us through that, bro. What's the vibe there?
So it's not the most exciting. It's not like an exciting kind of business, but yeah, I started that maybe 4 years ago now. And so basically, kind of what we do is we like work with other businesses to do like fluid management is kind of how you would explain it. So that could be biodiesel, mineral diesels, AdBlues, like liquids. We work business to business. So we'll go into a company, have a look at their business practices, basically say, this is the infrastructure you need. This is a better way to do what you're doing, and we'll facilitate that. So they might be using, the service stations, but they want to get contracts with like bigger construction companies to do, biodiesel or they need to be seen as like getting green ticks and stuff like that, doing something good. So we'll transition them over, hold their hand, do all of that. So.
Wait, and you started that? That's your business.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
How do you?
Wow.
So prior to that, I worked 10 years at another business, and fresh out of uni, started there. Worked my way up through that business, and it was a super intense place to work. Like heaps, a lot of people come and went really quick, revolving door. And then I ended up, I guess, probably halfway through that 5 years, I ended up like going to the owner of that business saying, "Look, I think there's an industry here," which was kind of relative to that. And I said, I want to like have a day a week where I'll chase it. And of course,
bye-bye.
He's like, yeah, go for it. If it works, it works. So it boomed, you know what I mean? So
holy shit.
I was in that space super lucky, lucky in a way, but I got to, I guess, see a business go from here to there and run the whole thing, you know what I mean? So then it got to a point where he wanted more, like, we got to 20 trucks, 25 staff, all that kind of stuff, and he's going, let's get 100, you know what I mean? Let's do all of that. We were in all the different states and stuff. Great for him because it means more money, but it was going to be more headache for me.
Yeah.
And I was already at my tether, man. Like at that point, I was done, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
So it was weird. Like I started the business in a weird way actually to get more freedom. You know what I mean? And that's all it's ever really been. It's just that, working in those kind of environments that doesn't last. Like everyone that was there for a long time was fucking miserable. And I swore it'd never become like that. And when I noticed myself starting to do it, I'm like, nah, I'm not becoming like these dudes. So
and you had it all kind of semi-figured out because you were doing roles, you were saying to me, like, that weren't just like the one-dimensional roles, like you were taking on different like parts of the job. So then you got a broad understanding of how a business, especially in the fuel industry, like is, you know what I mean? So it's just like by the time you got your business, you were kind of set up pretty well, you know what I mean? You didn't have to start a business course on, I don't know if you did a business course just to have the business certificate, but like you didn't have to do the paperwork to figure out how to run a business, or you kind of maybe did, I don't know, like, but did you find you were on your feet pretty well by the time you made the transition?
Like I had plans probably 3 years before I left. Like the business was established 2 years before I resigned.
Oh, beautiful.
And that was simply just to get things started, you know what I mean? Because I knew I wanted to get that. I had no fucking idea how I'd make it work. But all the pieces of the puzzle slowly, I didn't know, was that going to take 1 year, was it going to take 5 years, but the right people in the right places to make it work had to be there. But yeah, it was, you know, took a little while to get to it, but then I think you get to a certain point where you're never going to be 100% sure that the leap's going to work. You know what I mean? I don't think that you go, yeah, every box is ticked, every worst case scenario has been explored and figured out. But I was probably 75% there. So I was like, a better chance that you're going to do all right than not. But
was it hard when you first left your job and you were like, all right, I'm on my own completely here now? Was it a struggle, or were you pretty like from straight out the gate you had it kind of sorted?
Yeah, kind of. Like I was also leaving a super intense work environment, so it was kind of like going on holidays at the start.
Oh, and I relieved.
I did that. I think I resigned in like October or something, and I said I ain't going to do nothing till the 1st of January. Like I just gave myself
just
that end of the year,
chill out time. Man. That's good.
Decompact and unwind, because you develop bad traits, you know, mentally and just all of that. So. But it wasn't like, it was challenging. I made sure that I had enough money to not need to like pay myself a wage out of the business for the first 6 months. So if it didn't net good income for 6 months, that was all right. You know what I mean? So it kind of gives you a bit of a grace period, you know, where you go, all right, after the second week, I'm not going to be freaking out because I didn't make any money. You certainly become super frugal on everything, you know what I mean? It's like, well, you know, do you really need that? You know what I mean? But I don't think it was hard. I think it's like that thing, you jump in the deep end and you don't have a choice but to fucking swim.
Just swim.
You know what I mean? So I think same with you, I encourage everyone that ever comes and says, oh, I'm thinking about doing it. It's like, fucking do it.
Just do it.
Do it. Like no one, it's again, cliche thing to say, but anyone that's ever kind of started their own thing will tell you to do it. It's the people who haven't that'll say, nah, too much risk, or your boss, because your boss doesn't want you to do it. So watch out for those motherfuckers.
You fucking pussies, you hear that? Fucking just do it, man.
Wow, man, props to you, bro. That's
crazy, man.
Man, that's solid work ethic, bro, and determination and grit, bro.
Yeah.
Like just being able to fucking put it together like that. Fucking props to you, man. I'm glad it's working out for you.
It is like, I think on the day to day you don't notice progress, but then you like
over the years,
sit back after a year and go, oh fuck.
You're like, fuck yeah, this is hectic.
Yeah.
I'm here now and I was there before, you know what I mean? So that's fucking good shit, man.
Yeah. So how many people you got working for you now in your business?
6 now.
Yeah.
And then probably another 1 soon up in Brisbane. So if all goes to plan. So I didn't actually really want anyone, to be perfectly honest. Like when I first started, I was like, so we outsource a lot of our work, all of our transport, all that kind of stuff. It was, you know, if you can't do it on a beach in Bali, don't do it. It doesn't mean I want to be on the beach in Bali, but I need to be able to walk away. And again, that's that freedom thing. So, but then the business got, I guess, too busy where, you know, we had to have staff. And now it's at a point where it's like, well, we're not going to need to invest in staff so that it can be self-sufficient. Like Sal and I go away at the end of the year for 5 weeks. Like I have to, like my biggest thing at the moment is making sure that thing can run without me.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many dudes that run businesses and they do the whole, I can't go. I haven't been on holidays for 20 years. If I go away, the whole place turns to shit. It's like, man, if that's the case, that's your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your staff. It's not nothing. I'm like, you have to put all of the systems in place. And if they don't know what they're doing, it's because you haven't trained them right. Like, but I think those dudes like that idea. They do. They're needed, you know what I mean?
And you've never left before yet?
No, like
be your first time.
We did a couple of weeks
in Bali, didn't you?
Yeah. Which by that point I had a dude on to kind of cover my role, so that worked. But again, we're a lot busier now too.
Yeah, you've taken on 5 more since I last spoke to you, because that was not long ago. You hired that first guy, and you introduced me, and I was an electrical at yours, and then that was real quick. You must pick up heaps. Wow.
Yeah, well, we had 2 dudes start at once, like unplanned. There was a guy that I've been working on for like probably 4 years that I wanted him to come on board, and it just so happened that he kind of came available. You know what I mean? At the same time that we then had to put another dude on. So, and then this dude in Brisbane. So I didn't want that, and I must admit that's probably why the last not want it, but like timing was like, fuck, here we go. Like this is gonna hurt for a little while, but they're good, man. They're like the guys that I've got. I all like handpicked. Like I know them and I found them. Like I don't want to be a big business, so the people that I do have, I don't want to dislike them, or like
Yeah, exactly
I want to
right.
be happy to talk to them every day.
Yeah,
You know
Be
what
able
I
to
mean?
trust them.
Yeah, that trust's a big thing too.
Trust is a massive thing, man. We've seen it. I've seen it so many times where dudes do the wrong thing in businesses, to their gain, but not so But it's the risk you take.
I can't imagine employing anyone. Like when I think of my business, I'm like paying someone's wage, right? So think of this, put it this way, right? Your business is like, you're in a good business as well. Once you have those customers, they're basically yours, you know what I mean? Which is mad so you got that security, right? But in someone like me, who's an electrician, who you got to get in with builders and stuff, and all that stuff. You got to have that regular work. You have regular work. I struggle to fathom how I'm going to like look after multiple people's livelihood and weekly paychecks, right? Just to break even that week, like even.
Yeah.
And then you got to make profit. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So you would need constant work like you do. Like you have this on influx of work and it's continuous. But even so, right, with that, it would be a lot of a headache to like pay everyone's taxes. You got to pay your business tax. You got to pay super. You got to pay this. It's so much to think about. I get kind of overwhelmed thinking about it. Like that's why when you say 6 people, it's like, man, then you got company cars. If you have company cars, you have this,
crazy,
you have that.
yeah,
So it's so much going in and out. Yeah. So, and then I always wonder, like, do I want to grow my business to that point, or should I just cruise making? When you're making a certain amount, be like, yeah, this is good for me. I'm living like comfortably, but then it's like I don't want to be too complacent.
Yeah.
But seeing people like yourself and people like actually in my life, like that are friends, do that. I swear I have like 3 or 4 friends that I know that have their own businesses, and it's just good to see, you know what I mean? Like, because it does seem more attainable sitting across from you and being you know what I mean? Like, if you just apply yourself, like good things can happen. And like you saying that you could make money, go on holidays and still be making money, that is the dream.
Yeah, like
it is the dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like right now I go on a holiday, don't get paid.
Yeah.
So you have people there, like there's just only good things can come from it. You know what I mean? Like,
it depends what you want from it. Like I got mates that have, been sole traders for 10 years and have been in, like I get into them going, dude, when you put an apprentice on, you can do that.
Yeah.
They just go, no, like I don't, that's just not what I want. You know what I mean? Like, and I get that, man. Like I'd rather be earning $100,000 a year with freedom than 400 million and you're tied to that bitch.
I don't know, but if
day.
you're in a Ferrari, are you really frowning? Hey, James is driving a Lambo and he's just, I'm pull up in like a Tarago. James is like,
honestly,
just rolling in it.
You're just gonna hire a bunch of fucking Taiwanese fucking immigrants, bro. You pay them $5 an hour, bro. Happy days, bro. They'll fucking wire up a whole house for you.
Do you have speak pipe?
I only got 3 this time, so
Fuck.
I know.
No, I meant to leave. Fuck, I'm a dickhead. I meant to leave a speak pipe to myself. And I literally had it planned out. I recorded it, but then I didn't want to send it because you might listen to it. And it was literally like,
No, I don't listen to them before.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. Yeah, it's a surprise.
and it was like, hey, what's up? Just wanted to say hello to future me. And I was gonna be like, what's up, past me?
Oh no!
That was actually such a great idea. That's funny as. What's it paying that Zex is the first?
No, unfortunately, his phone broke. He's out.
Yeah, no Zexa this
Was
year.
he the dude that did like 5 last
Yeah,
week?
yeah,
Yep.
Our biggest fan. Shout out Zexa, bro. I know you're listening.
Yeah, bro. Unfortunate, man. Yeah, we've only got 3.
That's
so
all right.
the return of Mr. Pablo.
We did put a topic, but I don't know if any of them are related.
You got to do it. No one listens to me.
I did.
You need
I
to
did.
come
I
up.
put it about
No,
mythology. I copied what you said.
No one.
but,
Nah, you need to do it
We'll
because
see, man.
people don't. It's a meme, bro. No one responds to.
I got some.
Friendly Fire.
I got a couple. I got a topic on ancient history anyway. Ancient Egypt.
Okay, so we'll do. So we got one from Pablo. One called Mr. Conspiracy 9/11 was an inside job at hashtag Project Bluebeam hashtag the Rothschilds.
I wonder what that's about.
And then we got the return of Megalodon. Shout out you, bro. I feel like he's really enjoying these speaky dickies. So we'll go first with James. You can choose. Do you want Mega, Mr. Conspiracy, or Pablo?
We've got to go to the conspiracy.
Yeah. All right. All right. Make sure this all fucking works. Should I close the door, or I just feel like we're
I
gonna
feel like
we're gonna boil in here, like of how hot it will get.
Oh, true.
If we get too hot, just open the fucking thing again.
Okay, I guess.
We can just
Just everyone don't breathe. Hold their breath
Sorry.
for like 3-minute intervals.
Whoever's not talking, we're all purple and shit.
You're not even listening. You're just like
What is it?
ASMR.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Our fucking our two women slave They aren't tied up out there and they're just going crazy. Mr. Conspiracy, let's see if this works right. Is this, first of all, am I even connected?
Probably not.
Settings, Bluetooth, Rodecaster Pro. Yep, yum.
What is it? Yum diddly gumdrops or whatever?
No, goody gumdrops.
Goody
What's going on, lads? I realised that my speak pipe last week was pretty fucking boring, so I'm going to make this one a little bit more interesting. Just got me Hungry Jack's, large cheeseburger meal with side of onion rings.
Where's the JFC?
Take off the pickles, whack the chips and the onion rings on the burger.
Oh, he's sucking his fingers. He's definitely sucking those bad boys.
Shout out, that's prop, bro. That's prop. Shout out, prop.
If you guys have heard much about this, I know you're pretty into most of these sort of things, but what's your guys' take on adrenochrome and adrenochrome harvesting? It's pretty full on once you get into it. It kind of, to me, if you watch the entire plot of Monsters, Inc., that is basically what adrenochrome harvesting is. Scaring somebody and then the chemical that, the fear chemical that's put in their blood, then consuming that chemical. But yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys think, if you think that's real or that's some like stuff to make the conspiracy theorists seem even crazier. I don't know. It's I put nothing past the sick fucks that run this planet, so I don't know. Interested to know what you guys think.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that because just before I came here, I didn't watch it, but I saw a video pop up about some celebrity, Susan's. What's her fucking name? I don't know. I don't
Susan
remember.
Boyle?
No, not Susan Boyle. But she was, I might have. Maybe. I think it was an S name. I think chick with dark hair. Anyway, she was on Oprah and she like admitted to doing adrenochrome. Like
that's a scary fucking.
And yeah, I've heard that about Monsters Inc. too.
Yep.
So if you don't know exactly what it is, apparently the elites to state why they look so young and everything. Apparently they drink baby blood and shit, and what they do is they get these people and they scare them really bad before whatever, and then they harvest their blood and drink it. And it keeps them young, and apparently it's like the fountain of youth and shit.
They're not scaring it. They're not scaring them. They're raping them and torturing them, and it's very.
That's fucking pretty scary, man.
It's like it's beyond scared. This is like
adrenochrome.
Yeah, so it's the blood cells.
What's the purpose of it?
It's the blood cells in a young child, usually children's, younger people, but in more or less children. It's the blood cells. Is it in a younger person's blood? Is it the cells or the actual blood itself?
I think, I don't know. The blood, I thought.
Does it have something to do with them scaring them and it heightens something in their blood when they scare them? Or then they just scare them for fun? Like
No, they're just apparently when you're scared, your blood does this. I don't know if it like thins out or what. Okay. And they think it's like, it makes them, it gives them like eternal youth and that. It's fucked up.
Imagine if it just made you more scared. Like, you just drink the blood and you get scared easily. I'm like,
No, it's a very fucked up rabbit hole. I've been down it many times. To the point where it's like you can't continue going down that hole because it's so fucked up. Because, like, example, have you guys? I don't know if you guys saw the video of is it Orlando Brown, the cunt from Nickelodeon? What was it, Nickelodeon?
That's So Raven.
That's So Raven. That young kid actor, bro. He comes out. People think he's crazy because he's always saying shit like Kanye West, but he's not crazy, bro.
He's a little bit
out there, bro. But the shit he said about, like, have you heard of the panda eyes and that? So like when kids or when someone gets like raped and so scared that their eyes puff up and their eyes literally go black. Like it's like ginormous bags under your eyes. And then like the elites and rich people call it panda eyes and shit. And he literally come out saying, he's like, bro, like Will Smith like raped me and all this shit. And he's going off into the camera about Will Smith and all that. And he's explaining the whole panda eyes thing and shit like that. It's fucked. Like it's a very messed up video.
Is what panda eyes is.
Have you seen him on the Dr. Phil show though? And he's fucking crazy, like off his guts, like saying the most bizarre shit. He's saying like, I got a 2-year-old. He's talking about his kids and he's making up all these kids. He's like, yeah, I got a 2-year-old, a 6-year-old, 5-year-old. And Dr. Phil's like, oh yeah, and so what's the other? He's like, how old's the 2-year-old, or how's the 2-year-old doing? He's like, oh, the 2-year-old's still in the belly. Like the 2-year-old's still in the belly, and he's got like these weird contacts in. He's saying gibberish, like he's crazy. It's fucked. It's pretty disturbing to watch him be that insane. But he's a lot better now, and I've seen some of the stuff he says is a bit weird, like industry, like creepy, that type of shit.
Yeah.
But who knows, man?
Yeah, well, the panderized thing, it's like, so it's the same thing with this adrenochrome stuff. When you scare someone or like a younger person so much, or like beat them up or whatever, so much torture, their eyes like literally bulge out of their head, like out of their fucking heads. And it creates these ginormous big bags, black bag. Like, you know, when you're tired and you got a bag under your, you got bags under your eyes. It's like that, but like amplified.
Yeah,
and they go,
I feel like I've had that after a big night.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I've seen some shit last night.
It's like, and then the elites in that call it like panderizing and that. So like Hillary Clinton, big one. Like she's evil. Like evil. Like leaked emails between her and Obama talking about like something. There was a leaked email where
pizza parties and shit. These code words.
Someone ordered in an email between Obama and Hillary. She ordered like 150 pizzas.
She might have been hungry.
Code words.
Nah, man, it's all fucking code, bro. Like ice cream, pizza. It's fucking
how funny.
fucked up,
How
bro.
funny. Like, think of a better fucking code.
Yeah.
Like, who's ordering 150 pizzas? Just say, can I have... Actually, what would you be getting 150 of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
150
nothing.
of anything is like, whoa, all right. Like,
Yeah,
what
true.
the,
Like it's weird. Yeah, it's weird shit, man.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a thing?
Yeah, probably. A lot of celebrities have said weird stuff about it too. So
It does seem
Probably.
weird.
Yeah, it's kind of like it depends. If the masses are talking about, you don't know if it's been like the Chinese whispers, but from a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, or just spreading shit, or if it's actually accurate. You know what I mean? Like, how many people can be wrong? But I don't know, man. I tend to be like, if I can't see it, I'm like, fuck, just like ignore it.
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, bro.
Ignorance is bliss, man. Straight up.
James, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I'd like to think that it's not right, but
Yeah.
I would live in that world that it isn't right.
Yeah,
but
it's not
there's
there.
probably something in the back of my head that's like, but it could be.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be. It is weird that there's a lot of, super rich or powerful people that don't seem to age. Like, I don't see many people walking around the streets that, not that you know, but even people that just do the Tom Cruise and look like he hasn't aged. Like, fair enough, they've probably got access to like the best plastic surgeons and like their job is to be in front of a camera. You know what I mean? So they've almost got like a vested interest. You know what I mean?
But that's what I was going to say to you. Reminded me, have you seen those photos and shit of like someone from like the fucking 6th dynasty in ancient Egypt, and it looks like exactly like a celebrity today, and they think they're like
Literally been around for that long. Yeah.
There was a fucking interesting thing someone said. I'm going to butcher it. I don't remember who said, but someone was saying and explaining that and why they all looked like that. They keep, that's literally what they do, and these people live forever. You know what I mean? Like they reincarnate or something. They like keep their, I don't know. It's weird though, but like, would they look? How's that work?
Reincarnation? I thought you're completely different.
That's
You
what
might
I'm
not even be a person. You might be a fucking certain animal or some shit. I didn't think you could replicate.
But that's what N3 was saying in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. If they figure it out or something, they can keep their memories and shit in the next life or something.
Yes. So what N3 was saying, so shout out you, bro. When he was on last, he said that he sort of did a little bit of research on the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is like this practice by, I can't remember by who, before you cunts have a cry. I don't know if it was like Buddhist or what. It was some cunts, right? So they said that if you, in this consciousness, in this soul that we have, right, if we can sort of learn about death so much and try to learn how to navigate death when we die, that when you do die, you know you've just died. So you can then, so you know how everyone says, go into the white light, and then they reckon don't do that. Because you'll go into the white light and that's it, bang, your memory's wiped.
You get thrown back in.
You're thrown back into this world as someone else, as a Chinese kid, as a caterpillar, as whatever. But if you avoid this white light and you train your consciousness so much that when you die, that you know you've just died, all right, I'm dead, I'm not going to go to that fucking white light, I'm going to go see what's around the corner of that light. You go around, you can die and go to the next world, but you've kept your memories of this fucking life. So if you died, you would remember Tori, me, you'd remember this podcast, you'd remember your friends, you'd remember James, you'd remember all that shit, but you just pass on to the next world. So it's like, that's like I guess ultimate heaven, right? You go to the next place, you're still kind of functioning. I don't know if you're a soul or you're like an essence or whatever, but you've still got your memories. That's why they reckon in that book, you don't go to the fucking white light, because that's your reset. That's the big reset button. That's the game over. all right, good try. Try again, but this time you're going to be a fucking African kid. Bang.
How exhausting though if you did keep, not saying that you wouldn't want to keep all your memories and shit, but imagine if you continued to not, the light's there and you're just like,
you're there for ages.
by the time you're like, I don't know, you've lived 70 lives, you've had like 70 girlfriends, you've had countless mates, you get them all in a room. Like, how are you supposed to, it's just crazy. Like, I feel like it's almost like the beauty of that whole theory is the reset, right?
Yeah, well,
because ultimately everything in life is like, even friends and anything, people that aren't even yourself, right? At the end of the day, it's like, it's crazy that, I don't know. I just get real deep with this shit. but I don't know.
You just get more confused.
It's like Soul, man. The movie Soul, man.
Have you seen that movie, bro?
That's a great movie.
That's a fucking... You haven't seen that movie, Joey?
No, I haven't.
You should watch it, bro. It's the best Disney.
Oh, man. They hit the nail on the head with that one, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, plain and simply, it's just everyone... When you die, you're just your soul. You're like a little life wisp or an essence. You go to, I don't know, the fucking waiting room before you go to heaven or hell or whatever. But in there, you get given do they get given the choice, or they're forced to come back and help another human who's still alive? And then when you succeed, you go to heaven. Is that what it was, or something along those lines?
I don't remember.
You got to do a good deed or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like one last good deed before you move on, or something like, I can't remember. Something. It was just it was done really well though, because like, so the guy's died and he's got his memory still, and he's like kind of watching his old loved ones and shit, and he can still remember it, but he's dead and he knows he's died.
He wants to go back because he was a jazz musician and he wanted to go back.
Like, he wasn't ready to die. Like, he wanted to do this gig really bad, so he wants to go back, and then he gets help from this other soul and shit. It's like, and what's really good about it is that a lot of it is like truth of what people believe actually happens when you die, and what it's really like, which I believe a lot of it too in that movie. I resonate a lot with it. It's like how, and they reckon that the guides that help them, it's kind of like soulmates. Yeah, how people say soulmates are here,
Bro,
your soul family. They come.
I was thinking that. Do you know when you think that same word and you're like soulmates, like, oh.
But I'm glad you fucking you know what I'm talking about, because like your soulmates, apparently it's not necessarily someone you're in love with. It can be a family member or something. You're a soul family, and you're in the other dimension, and you'll decide to come to Earth to learn lessons and to evolve your soul. Because you don't grow in your comfort zone. So a lot of people come to Earth and we have an experience and there's challenges and shit, but that's how your soul grows. Yeah. And that's how you learn, and you can evolve, and you learn lessons, and your soul becomes wiser. You know? And if you look at the zodiac and shit, it's all in order, right? And apparently, I don't know, this is a bit of a different theory, but apparently how the zodiac goes in order, apparently like whatever zodiac sign you are is the number of lives you've lived sometimes. So like Pisces is the last one. So they know if you're... it's a good thing, though, because that's why apparently Pisces are very wise and level-headed. They've lived many lives, and you're at your last life. After you're a Pisces, you finish, you go on to... You level up, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But I'm a Sagittarius. I don't know what that is in the order, but then you go to the next one, and I'll be born as a fucking... But that's a different theory. That's something... I don't know how I feel about that one, but... I don't know. I definitely believe in astrology, though. 100%.
Which is crazy, because you're a pretty wise dude, James.
Yeah, you look like a Pisces to me. If I had to guess, I'd probably say Pisces.
I feel like if I was lost and you were there, I'd feel obliged to just be like, this guy knows what's happening. Like,
what are you? You're Cancer, right? Are you Cancer?
Yeah. Which is the shittest fucking stuff.
You're Scorpio.
Scorpio.
You are a Scorpio. This cunt gets so hot-headed, bro. Like, that's Scorpio all over.
Bemrose is a Scorpio too, eh?
Yeah, she is a Scorpio too. See what I mean about astrology? People are like literally, there's a lot to it, man. And if you look at people's whole charts, it gets even clearer. And the Egyptians and shit believed a lot in that too, which I think they had their keys, man.
But then the devil's advocate would say, like, some would say that if you kind of tell someone this is what it is, you kind of not adhere to it, but like because I'm not saying I don't believe in it, but I'm just saying I'm saying the devil's advocate, and this is like, you know how like it's like fucking religion or anything. Balance, you can see both things, you know. But I'm just saying, like, could it be a thing where they're feeding you what it is, right? And because naturally you want to be a part of something and belong to something as normal people do, that you go, I am sensitive. Bro, you know what? I do love a cuddle. I do love a cuddle.
That's why I brought up the whole Viking point, because which I'll do it after the speak pipes. I reckon humanity has just been one ginormous placebo effect. We're just acting the way we act because it's just there. Like, it's in our subconscious, but we're not you know what I mean? Like, it's exactly what you just said, bro. all right, Joey K, you can choose now between Mega or Pablo. Who goes next?
Pablo.
All right. Mucho gustos, Pablo. Shout out you, bro, from the Safe Boys.
What up, you mad shaggers? It's fucking Pablo again. First time listener, long time caller. So I got another little yarn here for you. It's about the time that I went to New Zealand, right? So I flew over with the fam and hopped off the plane there. It was out at the North Island. And we went for a drive to just go find our Airbnb. And I found out, like, the rumours are pretty true about how people are fucking sheep over there. So I decided to pull over and I found this bloke over there. And I was like, mate, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, mate, this is how we keep warm over here. We do this all the time. And I was like, oh, well, when it gets hot, do you shear them? And he goes, nah, bro, get your own.
Oh, shit.
This
cunt is the most Australian man in the world, bro.
That's so good, bro. Do you shear him?
I fully thought that was a legit story.
Yeah,
like right up into the.
You don't know with Mr. Pablo, man.
Shout out to you, man. Check out the Safe Boys. If you
Safe
haven't.
Boys, by the way, comes out every Tuesday. And last one, Mega Man, Mr. Meganos. What you got for us?
So as it turns out, I can't talk conspiracy theories with you guys because it's more likely that Zex has already brought it up himself. Two great minds think alike. That's all I can fucking say. So instead, this week, I thought I'd ask a different question. Now, DZ and I have we've shared a love of space and everything universe, and our self-confessed limited knowledge, as it were. But I want to know what you boys think. Where does the future of humanity lie if it's out amongst the stars? Is it in a place like Mars, where we're going to have to terraform everything and whatnot, or could it be a planet 500 light years from here, like Kepler 186, somewhere that's Earth-like? What's your theories on this, and how close do you think it is to happening?
Well, I've heard a lot of theories about the elites and shit. We're all talking about how the goal for them, for humanity, is to merge with machines, which is kind of fucked up and scary to think about. But if we don't go in that direction and we go to space, which I think might also happen, especially with SpaceX and shit, I think we'll start on Mars and the moon and things. But once we discover how to go light speed, which we're close to doing, they're discovering a lot of shit about fuel and how to have unlimited energy. We're very close. Like, it's getting pretty crazy. I think the more feasible thing would be to be out of the solar system. Because if you look, they've discovered and they keep discovering so many planets that are just like Earth. Habitable. They might even have aliens on them. But obviously we can't see them from this far away. But they know they're just like Earth. Same temperatures, same oxygen, everything. There's plenty of them. So if we decide to go and out into space, we might have bases and shit on Mars and a pretty good civilization on the moon and Mars. But after that, I feel like the real civilization might be somewhere else on a different planet. And there's theories even that we're the fucking aliens and we came to Earth, and, you know, and that's why in ancient Egypt there's all this hidden shit, you know, like all the aliens once that just came here from somewhere else. So who knows if humans are already even out there. And then one day we might reconnect. You never know, man.
We're saying it's the aliens and really it's like humanity that built the pyramids. Is that what you're saying? Like when they're saying that, like,
it's a legitimate
who built the pyramids? Or was the aliens? It's like all men, or
us
like
in the future.
Us and yeah.
People say that like aliens are actually just us in the future. That like,
yeah, like
it's weird, man.
No genitalia either. There's just fucking no. Apparently, like, apparently it's like they're genitalless. That's it. They have no dicks, no nothing. They don't need them. They like their mouths are like, apparently they don't talk. They talk like telepathically. Like they become smaller humans because like they don't need
muscles, energy and shit.
Yeah, they don't even talk. They do, but they're just like. Imagine watching an alien movie.
Podcast,
But I think we will go to Mars very soon because it's happening. It's you know, we're going to the moon in like 2 years, man.
No clue. We're
Artemis mission. We're going back to the moon. We're doing all this crazy shit, man. And the Starship, Elon Musk Starship, the biggest spaceship we've ever built. If you look up these things, they're massive, very cool looking. That's doing its test flight this year soon. Next months, they're doing
Elon
the first
Musk.
test flight. Yeah,
That's
of the Starship.
gonna blow up.
It's not. It's not.
so
Do you
gonna
know how
blow up.
good space travel and they got it down?
The first
bro.
one always blows up.
No, man, it doesn't.
Imagine
Every time.
the first one always does.
Apollo 13, bro, blew up.
SpaceX
Killed a whole bunch of people.
has blown up a lot of stuff on like they blow it up and then they learn from it. Like and they've been doing that for years. They got it down, man. And that's why everything you've seen lately, there's never any news about shit not working because they've been doing it, man, and they got it down, bro. It's crazy. Did you see the live stream of them hitting that fucking asteroid to divert its path?
No.
When was that? Was that earlier this year?
I think so.
Start of the year.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Where they launched, they're testing out this new thing to see if they can divert asteroids. And they launched this thing into these asteroids. And it worked. And you could see they live streamed it. And I watched it. You see the live stream, you see the asteroid literally getting closer and closer. And the fucking machine hits it. And then, like, they diverted its course. And they were studying it over time with telescopes to see how much they moved it.
Yeah, wow.
And it fucking works. So if a big asteroid's coming to Earth, it's a possibility that we have the technology now to fucking divert the thing.
Thank fuck. Yeah, honestly, bro, I always have that thought where you're like looking out. Like this morning I went for a walk, it was early, it was still dark, and there was like a satellite beaming over. You know where you do the whole, fuck is that? And then I had that thought, I'm like, imagine if you're just walking along and you see,
You're like, fuck!
It's your last walk.
yeah, what do you do? Like,
Imagine that, you freak out thinking you ring Sally, like, it's ending, get the dog this. And then you see on the news, like, oh, a rocket ship fucking just flew past. Like,
Have you heard,
fucking scare yourself?
You heard the story of Jim Carrey when he was in Hawaii and North Korea had launched a missile or something and they all got like alerts on their phone
alerts
and he was
and
on the beach and shit and he just accepted that he was about to die and he was like on the beach like fucking... Shit,
I
man.
trust Jim Carrey of all people to accept death. He's just like, I can imagine him doing it as well. He'd be the most peaceful cunt.
Yeah, he's very spiritual, man.
Yeah.
Very awakened.
he was meant to do a movie, I think, I don't know how true this is, but Paul Stamets, the dude, I think it's Paul Stamets, the mushroom dude, the guy that's like psychedelic mushroom lord, you know, he's kind of, anyway, basically the be all and end all in mushrooms. I could be wrong about that. I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Yeah.
But they were going to make a docu-series or documentary on him and they got Jim Carrey to, like, he was be cast to play him, and so because he's kind of like a method actor, to get into the character, he went into the woods by himself and took like a heroic dose of mushrooms and stayed in there for like 4 or 5 days.
God.
You imagine being a fly on the wall watching that dude in the bush.
Holy.
I think
when
I've
he's
heard
on
that.
mushrooms. Yeah,
I
but in saying that, I heard that a while ago, and I haven't seen the movie, so it could just be wives' tale. But I would watch that movie.
Jim Carrey's cool, man. He's very awakened. That guy knows what he's talking about.
Could have been his excuse just to take a bunch of mushrooms in the forest. Like, yeah, I've got this movie coming up.
fake movie.
Jim. Like, fuck it.
Fake movie. He wrote the script in his fucking basement.
I could imagine he goes through his past roles. He's that fucked up. He starts doing The Mask. Have you ever watched The Mask?
Bro.
Like somebody stop me.
That's what, and he's just running through the woods and
Yeah,
shit.
or
like,
if you're doing the Grinch and shit, like, bro, like.
Did you watch the Sonic movie? He was
No,
great
he
in
was the
that.
voice,
great.
right?
No, he was
the main
live
villain,
action.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Eggman, the live action. Anyway,
Eggmanos.
what do you think about space travel and life on other
yeah, what
planets?
do we...
Yeah, look, it's an inevitability if we don't blow ourselves up first.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to go that way. Like when we launched those rockets, Apollo 13 and all of that kind of stuff, we were doing it on like, you know, old ass
Calculator
PCs
tech,
and
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's. I remember reading something where it's like the computer systems that navigated and launched those rockets is the same as like a Game Boy or something, you know what I mean? And you look at it now and like what we've got, like surely we have to have the capacity to do it. The biggest thing is just conquering that whole time, you know, light year stuff. You know what I mean? Like we can't fathom that. Like our brain doesn't understand a light year. Like you can, I say this to Sal all the time. It's like I can explain to my dog how to the basic 6 times tables as much as I want. He ain't never going to get it. Doesn't matter how smart that dog is, he's not going to get it. We're the same when it comes to outer space.
Oh, yeah,
Our
yeah.
brains aren't like that. We can't measure. If someone says something's 20 light years away, if we think about it, our brain just goes, it doesn't.
We're like, yeah, really far. But,
Yeah.
bro, it is
What
fucking
is that?
far away,
Like,
man.
what is that?
It's how
light
long.
year?
So
As in a light year, a lap around the world?
it's a light year is how long it takes light to travel in a year. Light is the fastest thing we know how to calculate. So when you turn on that light switch, the fucking time it takes that light to hit our eyes, that's light speed. So in 20 years, how long it takes light to reach somewhere, that's the distance. So that's how we measure in space.
It's unfathomable.
It's hard. It's hard to understand, but it's literally like
I was 80% with you, bro. Fuck, that's so annoying.
it's hard.
Bro.
It is hard because our human brains, we're fucking apes, bro. Like we're not meant to understand what's out there. But space is so huge. We have to measure things in light speed, and we can't get faster than light speed right now.
And is like age and stuff. Remember Interstellar with Matt McConaughey? Is that an actual thing with time?
Yes,
because it's scary when he comes back from the trip and his daughter's
he's young,
old and he's still young. Like time slows
time
down.
is relative.
That's fully a thing. They did a thing where they put 2 atomic clocks. So there's like, which is a clock that like measures to the point second, like the micro, whatever it is. They put 2 of them on Earth, and then they calculate them to be perfectly the same, right? And then they put one onto a space shuttle, and then sent it around the globe for like a specific amount of time, maybe like a year. When they brought it back, the clocks were out of sync.
Oh, really?
So that means that, and it's to do with gravity and
Holy
gravitational
fuck.
force. So that means that there are different time experiences, even
In
if
space.
it's just from here to there. You know,
Wow.
what I mean? Now it was like point of a second. You know what I mean? But you do that over the expanse of the galaxies. It's like,
Wow.
that shit's a real thing, man. It's a spin out.
Interstellar got so much praise for how accurate it was. You know, Interstellar, right? They show the black hole and shit. And then a couple years later, I think in 2019 or 16, they took the first real photo of an actual black hole, first time ever. And it looks almost exactly like what they showed in Interstellar, which came out before. So, like, Interstellar got so much praise from the scientific community and shit for how accurate it
They would have to, right? Because that shit's full in depth. Like
It's
the shit
crazy.
they get into in there. Like I was even scratching my head. Like, is that? Because I was wondering about how accurate that film was. Because some films cannot be so accurate, and they get like shat
lot
on
of
for
them,
it. Yeah. But yeah, they kind of had to with that. He's an amazing actor as well.
Oh, that's my favorite movie, man.
I need to
or
watch it.
when they're at the end when he's in the.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
But that was going to be a spoiler.
Yeah, I have not seen it. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
okay.
a brilliant movie.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so you know when he
I know-
did it.
Yeah.
that was a movie where I love these movies. It happens very rarely, but that was a movie where the credits rolled and I sat there
Just clap.
and I'm on my phone and I'm Googling for fucking 3 hours, bro. I'm looking up I'm looking up Interstellar facts and I go on IMDb, look at the trivia. I'm looking up like space and shit. I'm like, whoa, like it blew my mind.
Yeah, I watched
It blew my mind.
a breakdown of the film right after. Sometimes if I'm like lost, like Inception, I did the same thing. But I watched a full breakdown of Interstellar, and it just explains way more as well.
It's a brilliant movie, man. 100%. That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
yeah, I reckon.
Easy. That guy too, that's the same director, Christopher Nolan, did the Dark Knight trilogy. You know, it's another.
Oh, and that's a
For me, that's another 10 out of 10.
Christopher
that guy's mad.
Christopher Nolan never misses.
Oh, never misses.
He did that that movie Tenet. Have you seen
Tenet.
that?
Is that
I haven't seen it.
who's that with?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
that Idris dude.
Oh, Idris
seen-
Elba.
I've seen
I
that.
like him
I've seen
too.
that.
I like him.
And we went because I was like, Christopher Nolan, fuck yeah, new movie. Like 20 minutes in, like I turned to Sal and I was like,
Tense.
do you know what the fuck's going on? And she's like, I got no idea. And got to the end and I'm like,
What the hell just happened? Yeah.
It never got clearer. You know, a movie starts and you're like, it starts to make sense later.
yeah,
It just got worse and worse.
It never
and
gets
worse and
clearer.
worse.
I haven't seen that one, Tenet.
Well, what I wanted to bring up about what I was saying about like the Vikings and that, because what you were saying, I can't even remember, but it just made me resonate with how you said we're just kind of acting like how we act because we've been told.
Yeah,
Something along that when we're talking about the star signs and that.
Yeah, you kind of you lean into what you've been told.
Yeah. So I started watching Vikings again, and I didn't realize like the messages that series actually plays. Like I'm already up to season 2, and already the whole thing back then. So Viking Norse mythology. How long ago was that? Fucking
A long time.
hundreds of years, maybe hundreds.
I think that was in like the 400s, 800s.
Yeah. So back then, right? They had everything. Back then was religion. Everything, to the point where these guys were killing each other. Like they were. If you were a Christian and you stumbled into a fucking Viking village, they'd slaughter you if they found out.
Gone, yeah.
You're gone. Vice versa. So the Vikings believed in multiple gods, kind of like the Greeks. They had fucking Thor, Odin, whereas the Greeks, had Zeus, Poseidon, and the Christians had Jesus Christ and God. Like that was it. So, and then it made me realize that straight away, even in the first season, the main character Ragnar, he's already questioning like, is this shit even like fucking real, or are we just acting like this because this is just what we've been told to believe?
To the seer. To the seer that
bro, to everything. He's just questioning it. He's like, fuck, is this shit even real? Like, we're praying to these wooden statues. He's like, and he's thinking and questioning himself, but he doesn't say anything to anyone just yet. And it just made me think, like, that's just what life is. We've just been told, like, who would have told those cunts about the gods? Like how do they find that shit out, bro?
Wait till you get further into that because it unravels more. Like,
Is this the first time watching it?
No.
Oh, you watched it again?
Yeah.
Oh, can I? So
Yeah.
There's a scene before you've watched it as well, right? Before Ragnar's death, right? When he's in the cage and they're marching him to and he's kind of all fucked up, beat up and shit. He sees the seer, who was actually, before he saw him, he was just the old man that was, riding the horse and carriage, right? Turns around, now it's the seer. And the seer is the prophet back then. The Vikings, they would go to them as like a psychic, almost like an ancient psychic, right? And after he knows he's dying, right? And he's speaking in all like, the old language, like kind of thing. And he's like, and then he's like, can you just tell me basic, I'm paraphrasing, like heavy, but essentially Ragnar was like, you're the reason why Lagertha, when she got told that she'll never have a baby again, and she was pregnant, and she decided to fight in the war and risk her baby's life because she thought, well, I can never have a baby again. It's gonna be a miscarriage. I'm gonna go to the war, and then she ended up like hurting herself, killing, and had all these things. Like, and then Ragnar goes to the seer. If you hadn't told Lagertha that, she might still be here, or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, as in saying, like, you fill us with all this shit, all this basically. Is it true? And at the end, he was like, he basically said, your guess is as good as mine. The seer said this to him right before his death, though. You know what I mean? It's almost like a little. He told the truth. The seer told the unbearable truth because he knew that Ragnar's time was up. Like, you know what I mean? But everyone else is still in the rat race, then just being like, believing
listening to what he says.
Yeah, listening to what not just he says, but the religion and like, crazy.
I just found it weird. Oh, you got to come through. Like, especially back then, where all they really had was religion. Like, you know what I mean? That they were like, and in the show, like these cunts are killing Christians and shit just because they're Christian, and then because they capture that Athelstan cunt or whatever, and then even him by season 2, he's like. Not like he's kind of questioning his God as well because he's been living with these fucking pagans and shit for fucking a couple years and shit. So it's really just like we've just this whole time just being told what's like by other people. It's just stories that get passed down, and people literally ride them like to the end. Like there's like still cunts out there that are hardcore like Christians or like Catholics or whatever. It's fucked up. Like
it's like it seems so outdated, but I guess it does provide a good platform and like rules of like a good way to live life and stuff. But I guess everyone needs something to believe in, whether it's fucking astrology or reincarnation, or I don't know if that's classified as religion, reincarnation, but I don't think it is. I think the Buddhists. Oh, they do believe in that. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, it just depends, but I guess it all has its purpose. Like.
If you think about like back then, but because I thought about that heaps before, like
should be juicy pussies, so we should be good then. Is that what
Yeah, sorry, James, keep going.
Yeah, if you think about you go back then, like Bronze Age and all that kind of stuff, like no one could read or write. You know what I mean? There was no.
Yeah, that's.
There was no. There might be one dude in town. You know what I mean? And the equivalent of the seer, or it might be the town, whoever it might be. But when stuff happens and like you need, as every human wants, is the answers in life, like what happens after death and what's the meaning of life. A thunderstorm comes and you go, what the fuck is that thing? You know what I mean? When the one dude in town who's smart enough to read a book, that book might be the Bible, he's going to turn around and go, you want to know what that is? It's this. And then, you got an iPhone to whip out and go, hold on a minute. You just go, all right, well, he's a smart dude, so we're going with him. Like, I would believe him too. You know
everyone, I mean? Until you realize he's a pedophile, they're like fucking kids. And you're like, oh, this religion seems pretty fucked up.
The whole time the seers just fucking dudes and shit.
But that's the thing about life, man. We're so inclined to believe the people above us, and you have no idea where they get that from. And I had one point which is related to everything we're talking about. So in ancient Egypt, right, what blew my mind, like about a couple weeks ago, right, maybe 2 weeks ago, they found another corridor in the Great Pyramid.
Like a secret
How
corridor?
long have they known about these pyramids, and they're finding a new corridor?
Fuck, have they gone in it?
And they found it through like infrared cosmic ray muon technology,
Yeah.
it's called. And they discovered a 9-meter long corridor, and they put like a tiny little endoscope through it to get pictures of it. And they found this brand new corridor they've never seen before in the fucking pyramids, which we've known about for ages. And have you seen this photo that's been blowing up? I've seen it everywhere now, where it's like, it's just an artist's interpretation, but it's got the pyramids, the tip
then
of the
underneath
pyramids,
it's a
and underneath
ginormous-
it's a
yeah.
massive pillars underneath.
Yeah.
And a lot of people believe that they're like a energy vessel. The pyramids are like, because they're true north on the globe. They're pictured perfectly with fucking Orion's belt or whatever, and they're lined up perfectly. And people reckon that Earth is like, or the pyramids at least, are some type of energy source or like energy harvester for some reason, and I don't know why. And then I've also seen a lot of videos in Egypt about there's markings in all the like buildings and carvings that is like machinery, stuff we couldn't even do, and they've analyzed it. There's this one Egyptian pot that they have somewhere. I can't remember if it's some museum or somewhere, some place got their hands on an ancient Egyptian pot, like a First Dynasty pot, and they had this technology to analyze it, and it's like within 0.0000 degrees of being perfectly straight, perfectly aligned, impossible to do with hands. Impossible.
Implying that there was machinery or
They
some
had
sort used.
Some
back then?
type of technology.
Which means they were more advanced than if it was that long ago.
Yeah. And a lot of people believe that instead of traditional technology that we think of, as in heavy machinery, oil, engines, they had some different avenue, maybe vibration-based technology, some sort of... A lot of people believe they made the pyramids through vibration. Whereas if you vibrate enough, if I had a big vibrating thing here, it can lift this. You know what I mean? Because, you know... That's the power of vibration. People reckon they might have had some different... They might have gone a different direction with technology instead of oil, machinery type of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's hard that when we're told all this shit, we're just believing the words of someone else that's been there. You know, apparently there's a big hole in the head of the Sphinx. I think I spoke about it on the podcast before that they've covered up, and you can see photos of it. There was a fucking hidden passageway on the top head of the Sphinx. And they've plastered over and covered it up and shit. But you can look it up. There's a fucking secret hidden door on the head of the Sphinx. It's weird, man.
Well, that brings me to another point, which was weird. So, like back in like the olden times, I don't know how long ago, so I don't butcher the story. Back in like Colombia, so this explorers and that were, you know, trying to explore and look for old ruins and cities and that. Can't remember the cunt's name. They ended up discovering literally little golden statues, right, made of pure gold, of like little airplane looking things. They just dead set look like little bees, and they're like what the fuck? And then they're like, are these airplanes? Like, nah, these can't be airplanes because these things are like hundreds of years old, like obviously carved by the Native American people of Colombia. So they're like, so those two explorers took those statues back, got together with another guy who was like an expert in plane building. And the guy looked at it and was like, you know what? I'll just build like a replica model of it and we'll see if it flies. So he built a remote control version of one of these little statues and the thing flew perfectly. Nice. It was
bullshit.
Bro,
what the fuck?
And it was flying. There's fucking videos on this thing just flying through and still to this day they do not know what these little golden statues are.
That's fucking nuts, bro.
I've never heard of that. That's mad.
Bro, but the thing is that the statue doesn't look like a normal plane. It's got like holes in it and shit. So people are like saying that they had the perfect aeroplane.
Aerodynamic.
Like perfect aerodynamics with the winds flying through the right gaps to get the plane to like not crash and that. And this thing's like just, it doesn't even look like it's flying. It's like floating.
Yeah.
And then go up and it's fucking spin out, man.
I'm a firm believer that society and human civilization was a lot more advanced and a great wipeout happened. A lot of religions, everything talks about it. Some type of great flood or reset or something happened and we lost some knowledge or something. I don't know. What do you think about all this shit when you're hearing
it's hard, man. Like I feel like it's like what we've had 5 like global extinction since like Earth's
5?
inception. It was there's
Maybe
a number.
even 7.
Ice Age,
7.
meteor.
Yeah, a lot. There's been a lot.
That's heaps.
Like if you go and look at the side of a mountain that's been carved out, like you can see back billions and billions a year, or at least hundreds of millions of years. Like and this isn't to poo-hoo it, but I always think like if there was shit flying around and there was remnants of like certain technology that was there, like why are we only finding fossils of dinosaurs? Why aren't we finding a fossil of an airplane? You know what I mean? Like, because they were that long ago, or maybe it's predating the dinosaur period. I don't know. Yeah, I prefer to believe that it's true, only because I feel like imagination is so dead now, because if we want to know the answer to something, we just look it up. You know what I mean? Like, I would way prefer to live in a world where that shit's right. You know what I mean? So if we're never going to know, I'm just going with the edge.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Graham Hancock?
Yeah.
Bro, that guy convinced me of so much shit. Like the
Ancient
evidence.
Apocalypse.
Yeah. Like the evidence is it's there, man.
Yeah.
Like it's there. There's something we're missing.
And the old
has to
guys,
be.
who believed that it was their way was right. Like they don't like take kindly to someone that's kind of going, no, actually, this is true, so and so, and blah blah blah, and like having all these facts. And those old people that thought the old way are getting like their back up, and they're kind of going against him instead of like trying to, I don't know, prove that this new find. You know what I mean? Because
that's the scary thing about life too. Is instead of using critical thinking and saying, okay, maybe we're wrong here. So many everywhere in the world, doesn't matter what field, what business, people would rather, like, shut up, we got to keep this guy because, we can't change things. You know what I mean? Let's just leave it. And they banned Graham Hancock from going back to fucking Egypt, this guy, because they don't like what he's saying and what he's finding. Just because they believe what they know and what they have said is just the way it's got to be.
It's their agenda.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's doesn't matter what field or industry you're in, the top dogs will always get some ego and level of importance.
Control.
Anything they see that's a threat to what is, they kind of try to shut it up. Yeah, and that's fucked up, man, especially if you're trying to figure out life. The answers we already have. Even religion is the same. You can't bring up opposing ideas or like question. You know what I mean? And that's sad, man. Like, it's fucking scary.
I think people get too wrapped up in like taking it as someone saying their idea is wrong and not there's a new idea to just be explored. So like the new idea gets presented, and if that's, I guess, counterintuitive to what your belief has been for 50 years, well, you're not focusing on what the new idea really is. It's, that's against what I know and what I believe. So fuck what it is. I can't believe it no matter what. You know what I mean? Let's not explore it and look at it and maybe explore the validity of it. It's just, if it's against my shit, I ain't hearing it. You know what I mean? And if someone, especially as people get older, like you get to a point where you don't want the last 50 years to be wrong. You don't want it to be a lie. Yeah. So even if it's pretty damn obvious, you're like, nah, nope. You don't want to face that fact.
Fucked up, eh?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of I swear the Egyptians, man, they had it down.
They had
You
some.
guys-
They
you
were onto
guys-
it,
I
bro.
know, right? My
The
ancestors,
meaning of life is in Egypt.
they're
I'm
radiating
telling
through
you.
my veins. Imagine if I had all the answers. Imagine I was like, these motherfuckers.
For the next episode, can you dress up as like a shaman with like the fucking headpiece and shit? Like,
I gotta toe the line between not being too stereotypical and like offensive. But you know what I mean? You gotta be like,
walks in with the fucking staff and shit.
Actually, they've never found a real headdress that the Egyptians, the pharaohs, are always seen.
It's just on the hieroglyphics,
There's
isn't it?
never been a real life one.
please
found.
tell me they
Wow.
wore it though. How like they built
don't know.
badass. You know
It's
what I mean?
always on the
there-
statues,
if
but
there were just no hats, no nothing, just like normal looking,
normal hair. Like,
normal hair, yeah,
Real
like-
nice hair and shit.
What the hell?
No, the Egyptian government just did fake hieroglyphics just to attract tourists to Egypt.
Yeah, and MDMA is natural is tree sap.
MDMA grows in
All right,
the
I
ground.
was wrong, all right? All right, so manifestation secret. When wanting to see the highest possible outcome in a situation, do something to give back to nature. Before an important meeting, plant a tree, donate to an animal shelter, or buy 100 crickets from a store and then set them free into nature. Ancient cultures have used a technique similar for this for millennia, for providing an offering to the earth to bring good fortune. That's a picture of a little Egyptian hieroglyphic there. So I don't know if that means
is
like
that-
Egyptians.
Is
or-
that basically saying like if you give out good energy and you do something nice right before a big
Yeah.
meeting or something,
Yeah.
I don't know, like good fortune will come to you, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, something along the like kind of like giving back to Mother Earth before
Yeah,
she
yeah.
rewards you with your desire.
I
kind of
fuck
thing.
with
So-
that. I like that.
That's, that's
like
similar to the Balinese, like Indonesian in Bali, like the Hindu religion. They believe in reincarnation, as we said before, but also helping others and being so like that's why they're so happy and like joyful and stuff. 'Cause I was said to him- yeah. That was so Indian. Now I'm in like
like,
Mumbai. I'm like, oh, golly. Like,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But like, I don't know. He was just saying, he goes, if I can make someone's life happy, like, or make someone
Then
happy,
I'm happy,
that's
yeah.
good fortune for us in the next life. You know what I mean? So it's like similar to the Egyptian thing you just read.
It's just pay it forward. It's like ancient pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just
literally.
getting good karma.
It's
It's
like
like
tick.
It's a good way to live.
Ticker.
Yeah.
ticking up the earth for good karma.
I did have one Instagram poll, which we'll go through quickly. It's a very short, simple answer question. I said, let me see, let me go to my archive. I'm curious to know you guys' answer too, actually, on this. So I think with the Instagram polls going forward, I'm going to do a lot less of them. I'll only put a poll up if it's something really interesting or something I'm curious about, like the case for this week. I wanted to know, what is the best pasta type? Spirals, bow ties, penne, or spaghetti? It's 2 votes for spirals, 3 votes for bow ties, 2 votes for penne, 6 votes for spaghetti. I'm a bow ties kind of guy. Or shells. I like shells, man. You know the shells?
Oh, mum used to do it all the time.
Bro, the best, man. I hate spaghetti. I hate the long ones. Spaghetti is not fucking for me.
What about penne?
Penne is good. I like penne.
Fettuccine is my favorite, though. The flat noodle.
Fettuccine is better than spaghetti by
Bow
far.
ties.
But yeah, bow ties for me or shells are my favorite. What do
I feel like
what
bow
do you
ties.
prefer?
I feel like spaghetti's like so OG that
Yeah,
it's like
it's
you kind of
so
almost
yum.
got to say it.
Yeah.
Like, of course I like 2-pack. Come on, man. Like, do you have to ask?
2-pack.
It's a bit generic. You know what I mean? But the small ones, I like the long ones. The fettuccine.
course you do.
Yeah, I do.
He loves the saxophone, likes long ones.
Red sauce or white sauce?
White sauce.
Like if I had to have one for the rest of my life, white sauce.
Yeah,
mushrooms in there. and shit.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm like
Mushroom
you
bacon.
said with the OG with the spaghetti, the red sauce, man. Just like, I
Yeah.
love it.
I don't reckon I'd have spaghetti with white sauce.
I think the white sauce,
spaghetti.
white sauce is a bit too creamy. If I have a Boscaiola,
Yeah, it is,
if I have
it
a
is.
creamy Boscaiola, it's like after I'm in a food coma regardless, but I feel like it's so much more heavier. Like they put cream in the white sauce, with the red sauce is just dirty. Love it.
Oh yeah, I love me some fucking carbonara, man.
So what did you say? Spaghetti.
Well, fettuccine is my favorite, but I'll say penne out of those. I like a bit
Which
of
one's penne again?
It's the short little tube ones.
It's like a straw, you know, you got a hole on either side, little
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. And what did you say, bow ties?
bow ties.
I do love
Out of
spaghetti.
those, I'd say shells is my favorite, but I feel like shells is a bit rarer. I wanted to put like kind of the common ones, and I was like, yeah, shells. No one's fucking like shells, you know.
Shells always stick together as well, though. They're like,
Yeah, they're inside each other. You get a thick one.
it's like a human centipede of shells, spaghetti shells.
Is that the only Instagram poll you had?
Yeah, that's it, man. I put a speak pipe link.
Okay, well, did you guys know that medieval English longbows could fire an arrow more than 300 yards and required so much strength that the skeletons of medieval archers could be identified by their ginormous left arms?
So it's like jerking
wow.
off too much.
Yeah. So a longbow, for those who don't know, a longbow was like long.
No shit.
It was like big. So you're like fucking, like it wasn't just like a little bow and arrow. It was like
Proper.
body length, was it? Or no? A bit smaller than.
Oh, right.
I don't know. They're pretty big. They get pretty big though.
They were, like,
and then
long.
the drawback you need apparently, like obviously, like I've never shot a bow in my life, but I think I did on camp. But it was one of those pussy little bows. You know what I mean? But imagine like the strength you need to pull that back all the time. Like
And kill like a fucking elk or something, like something big.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
accurate and fucking.
and imagine like you were saying, it's like one guy's just jerking off. It's like everyone else is doing the bows, but this one guy just doesn't know how to fire a bow.
Is it the
And
biggest
he's
one?
like,
Massive arm?
massive arm. He's like, yeah,
He was an archer.
how's bow practice? Yeah, good. I'm just like,
Have you seen that episode of Family Guy where Quagmire's on the front lawn and it's him on the side and he's like, yeah, I just got to get the newspaper. And he discovers internet porn and he lifts his arm up and he's got a massive arm.
that's so funny, man.
He just runs back inside. He's like, I've got to get back.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few more points. Did you have any points, Dylan? or-
Nah, that's it, man.
I've got a few more. So did you guys obviously you all remember WWE, right?
Of course.
Do you fucking remember the fucking Hell in a Cell match with Mick Foley and Undertaker?
Yeah.
Bro. So I didn't realize this. That was only the second ever Hell in a Cell match that they did. The first one was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So is that a hit? Sorry, it was a fucking little fluff ball there. So Mick Foley, Mankind, that first one between Undertaker and HBK was so well done and so popular with the fans that Mick Foley was scared that when they did their one, it wasn't going to live up to the hype of that first one. And I sat back literally like last week and watched that whole Hell in a Cell again on YouTube. I fucking didn't realize that Undertaker throws him off the top of that within like the first 3 minutes. And for 15 minutes, they were trying to like resuscitate this cunt because he fucked himself that bad. So Undertaker, so in heaps of interviews afterwards and that, Undertaker was like, bro, it's like, I thought he was done. Like, I thought that was the end of the match. We're going to call it early. I win because he's, hurt. So they're trying to fucking and this is all real. This wasn't part of the act. So they're trying to shuffle this guy, Mick Foley, out of there because the cunt's fucked. They just threw him off the fucking cell. And then he starts running back to do you remember he runs back to the thing and starts climbing it with like a broken arm and shit. Yeah. And Undertaker was like, what the fuck? Gets up there and then, I can't remember exactly what Mick Foley said to Undertaker up there. He said something, no, that's right. He got up there and Undertaker just went to him, are you good? And he was like, throw me. He's like, chokeslam me through it. And Undertaker didn't even question it. He just grabbed him and fucking bang. And that's when he, again, almost broke his neck and shit because he fell through and fucked. Like, it was basically just Undertaker beating him up, like in real life. It wasn't even a match. Like,
but like in Mankind, like he was so back in the day, he was infamous for just like
crazy.
I know, like wrestling's fake, whatever, but like as in tough, as in like he'd do that shit, and regardless if it's staged or whatever, like everything on TV is fake. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the same shit, but they did that shit. And still kept fighting, you know what I mean? All these injuries they get, it's nuts. Like,
bro, he concussed himself, broke an arm, broke his ribs, broke a foot or something, and he was still going, trying to give a good show for the fans, bro. Yeah. And he even said that after that, he said for years, he didn't like talking about it because what he wanted people not to forget about that Hell in a Cell match. The opposite happened, where the only thing people spoke to him about was that Hell in a Cell match. And he got over it to the point where like, he at interviews and that he told him to like stop asking about that Hell in a Cell, and then he realized like 3 years later he was like, that was fucking crazy. He goes, we should talk about it because that was nuts. And now he talks about it all the time and shit. Yeah, but it actually full fucked him mentally and shit, that match. Like it full. That's fucking. Did you watch WWE as a kid?
100%. Because he threw him on the thumbtacks. Like,
that's right as well. And then he fucking got a bag of thumbtacks. And he got
that shit. Was that real? Because that's happened in a few matches. Real.
No, that was legit. They're not fake thumbtacks, bro.
They're real, eh?
Yes.
Because I remember Randy.
What's the thumbtack thing?
They lay thumbtacks out on the floor and they slam them on
choke slammed him on the thumbtack.
You know, little thumbtacks. Like they shower them on the floor and they do a move where they slam them on their back so they land in the thumbtacks and all the thumbtacks are in their back. Yeah, there's a clip of Randy Orton getting slammed on thumbtacks as well.
What the fuck?
Every now and then they do matches like that.
Yeah, the hell? Same with so after Mick Foley got smashed with the thumbtacks or whatever, some cunt, like one of the promoters or whatever, like was actually like worried for his well-being. So he come into the fucking ring to try to stop the match. This wasn't part of the script either. They're trying to stop this match. And then the guy went up to Undertaker and said, like, bro, like, what are we doing? Like, we got to call this. And Undertaker just said to him, he goes, make sure he's alive. Literally, that's what he said. So the guy goes up to Mick Foley and he was literally checking his pulse and shit while he's there on these thumbtacks. And then he looked at Undertaker and he's like, yeah, he's alive. And then Mick was like, keep going. So then Undertaker grabbed the promoter, chokeslammed him, and kept bashing Mick Foley, bro. So Undertaker was just making sure he was still breathing, and Mick gave him the green light, so he just kept going.
Wow.
Until he finally pinned him afterwards, like, nah, I got to stop this now. And he pinned him.
Isn't it crazy that WWE now is like, who is it? It's like Roman Reigns, Logan Paul. Like, it's so different.
I've got to give it to Logan, though. He's
good at it, man.
Yeah, he'll give it back that flair that they've been missing.
Have you had Prime? It's here in Australia now. I've been looking for it.
I've seen it at a servo, but I didn't have it. Apparently it's very, very, very sweet.
Yeah. It tastes like dog shit, apparently. Like,
really? Yeah,
very American, like, Americans love sweet fucking.
Yeah. Like Dr. Pepper's I've never really been a fan of.
It's all garbage.
Yeah.
It's dog shit. But I want to try Prime.
Iggy going in hard on
Oh, man. Don't get me started with these guys, man. The food's garbage, the drinks are garbage, the fucking... These are all fat and ugly.
But if I see someone in an American movie have a big slice of pizza and they fold it in half like this, and they're just like, I'm like, oh my god, fuck yeah! I want to go to New York and have a pizza wherever pizza's big, like
Chicago.
Deep, yeah.
Well, I've got to give it to them. In New York, the pizza is fire. Have you been to America?
Nah, never.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, have you been to Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But just I don't know, miss the American thing. Like I'd be down to go. I don't know if I'd go to like the main cities. I've heard LA's like fucked.
Yeah.
And I don't really do well with busy. I don't do well with lots of humans. You know what I mean? So I think if I did go, I would like do like maybe like a road trip down through the South, like from one side to the other. But big cities, man, lots of people, nah.
That's what Mum did exactly. Road trip down all the South states.
Yeah.
She loved it.
Which will be good because they're not really packed like the other main parts.
So you don't like crowded places? What? What? Really, as in what, the social side of it, or you just don't like so many people in one area?
Like humans are pack animals, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like once we get to a certain critical mass, we got to split. You know what I mean? That's how we used to do it. So when you put heaps of humans in a space that's really on top of each other, I just feel like it ain't natural. Like I don't. It's not like I'd be in there and be like, man, get me the fuck out,
freaking out.
But like me and a mate were in London like maybe 5-6 years ago. We were only there for like 4 or 5 days, but I specifically remember driving out of London and like as we got out, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I didn't know I
yeah.
needed that. Like it was just the closeness of the buildings, and I think the energy of so many people in one space. There's like a thing where they can actually measure the population of a town by how fast the people walk. Like, or a city. So like if you go to Tokyo and like they get like they can even just get like a video of people walking along the street, and based on how quickly they're walking, they can within like 1 or 2% calculate the population of that city.
Holy shit!
So if you go to a country town with hardly any people there, everyone walking slow as fuck.
Yeah.
But you go to New York, people pacing, like everyone's
like
running through. Like,
wow.
And that's just walking. I think that is actually more of a reflection of like a bigger thing with everyone. Like everyone's got to do stuff, get it quicker done. Like everything, there's just a more heightened energy.
Everyone's in a rush.
Fuck yeah,
Like,
that's so true, eh?
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of Shibuya crossing in Tokyo? I saw a video the other day. I wish I could show you. So I had it, but so like Shibuya crossing. Everyone's seen it. The famous Tokyo crossing, right? Where it's like 3. You know? And the video, right? They're like ants. The people are literally like ants. So the cars are going, it stops. They go, and then more come, and then go. They just keep filling up. It's like endless. Like the people, it looks like ants. Literally.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. I'd love to go, but I'm a bit like you in that sense. Too many, bodies around. It kind of fucks up your energy.
But do you still get that way if you're on holidays though? Like if you're on holidays and you go to like somewhere that's, because surely in Europe you would get a lot of that if you went in like, did you go to Europe in like obviously summertime there?
Yeah.
So like, is that the same similar vibes because everyone's doing Europe? Because it will be busy when we go. I'm assuming it was busy when you went.
Yeah, like it wasn't that busy, but like it was busy enough. But it's not like it's like going to impact. Like if we went to Rome, because apparently I haven't been there, but apparently Rome's super busy. Okay. I would still go. You know what I mean? I still want to see that shit. Would I just go there and just hang out there? Nah.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, it wouldn't impede me enough to go, nah, fuck, I ain't going to that place. It's too many people. You know what I mean? Like,
but you just wouldn't like favor those places over more quiet. Yeah, I get that.
And I feel like you just get, there's like what do they call it? Like globalization. Like if you go to like somewhere like Rome, I guarantee there's probably Macca's, fucking KFC, Starbucks, that shit. You maybe spend 5 hours cruising out to like the south of Italy, and you get some old nonna making you some kick-ass pasta. Like, I just feel like that would give me more of a feel like I'm away from home.
Yeah,
like less familiar is better.
Yeah. More authentic.
True that.
Yeah.
Apparently Italian food as well, they serve you less, as in like quantity size, but it's like the quality is like made with more love. You know what I mean? Like They have like ravioli pasta, like ravioli. They give you like 6.
It's like just
or
one
9 ravioli.
One ravioli, but it was like this.
The best ravioli of your life.
Was like it took her 5 hours to make that one little.
She's
thing.
just kneading the dough. And like, is it kneading?
6 days.
Is it kneading? Is it kneading? I don't know.
It is.
Kneading. Oh, okay.
Fuck.
Yeah. The Egyptian thunder god, bro. I've got 2 more points. Did you guys heard of the rapper Costa Titch?
No.
Bro, this poor fucker died while performing at Ultra Music Festival in South Africa. And the scary thing is again, they haven't released if he was on drugs or not. Probably was. But the video is fucking sad because there's videos of him performing the song. Apparently he was full popular as in South Africa. And he was...
That was a good accent.
Performing the song. The song stops and then you can sort of see him kind of like... You know when like a drunk cunt's like kind of struggling to stay up kind of thing? He looked like that. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, he's had a couple of shots or whatever. He's lit he has. And then he composes himself kind of thing. He just stops. And then he just goes... And just full on planks, timbers into the crowd forward, onto the floor, and just starts fitting.
Holy shit.
Dead.
Was it recent?
Yeah. This is recent. I think maybe
Isn't Fisher at that?
not even 2 weeks
festival?
ago.
I swear Fisher was.
I'm
at
not too. Could have
okay.
been. Ultra Music Festival is a big festival. I didn't even realize they had that in South Africa. But
He's probably on
I'm
drugs.
pretty sure Fisher is there for that festival. I don't know if he was there at the time, but that's crazy that someone's.
bro,
passed.
yeah, it's fucking. The videos. It's all over TikTok, bro. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, very sad.
It would have been hot too.
Boiling hot.
Like,
Heat exhaustion.
Off your head.
Yeah.
No water.
Have you seen those videos of the old soccer players? I remember watching this ages ago where the soccer players die suddenly on the pitch.
Yeah.
And they start like doing weird like fucking backflips and handstands and
Oh
shit.
yeah. Was that like some Brazilian guy or something?
No,
Or-
I don't remember, but I remember that reminded me of that similar thing. Like people just in the middle of what they do and
like brain
collapse,
aneurysm,
man. Like
Yeah.
who knows? And they don't know what happens. Like they just die. Like,
Well, like Dr. Dre had a brain aneurysm.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's still to this day, doctors don't know what causes it. There's no cure, there's no signs, and there's no way to stop it. It just, your brain just like clicks out.
The shorts. Yeah.
Yeah,
short
like, and
circuits.
he survived it, the can.
they reckon it was because a lot of stress from his divorce and shit. Like apparently
Oh, yeah?
that type of
That type of
energy can fuck you
brings
up.
on a
Just
fucking-
Blame the missus.
Yeah.
blame the ex.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I'd be pretty stressed too if my
That's
missus
true.
taking half of my fucking
And especially if you're Dr.
$1
Dre,
billion.
yeah. It's not like, he earns fucking $2 million a year. The guys.
He sold Beats to Apple. How much was it?
Oh.
$4 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
$4
something ridiculous.
billion with a B. Like, come
generational.
on, man. You don't need to do anything ever again.
No.
$4 billion, and then imagine your ex-wife takes $2 billion. Like,
Take it. Take
yeah, I know. Hey,
I'll be
I
happy.
imagine, but
And
I'm happy with two.
it's always as soon as you've got the money, the girl fucking, oh, you didn't do the dishes, I'm going.
I mean, it's not obviously always that, but all right, let's just say it is that because it does happen.
Yeah.
I would be fucking. We're talking about reincarnation and shit. I'll come back as a gold digging fucking thing. I'll go for like, he's someone with mad money. It's like, imagine if you just, you're unhappy. Fair enough, you're unhappy in your relationship. You just leave and you're like, oh, by the way, like, you didn't do that prenup, so we got the, you
you're divorced. Like, give me half.
Yeah, give me half. And how crazy it's like. You have those girls that go to yoga in the morning, or they just, I don't know, take the kids to school, or do like, just, I don't know, get the nails done or whatever because they're just provided for and stuff. And imagine if you just got that for a lifetime because your ex was wealthy.
What was
Like,
that?
that's a fucking lotto.
Did you hear about, was it Jeff Bezos? I don't know if it's true or not, but Jeff Bezos, when he goes divorced, right? He was the richest man in the world. He got divorced, and then his wife became the richest woman in the world after divorce. I don't know if that's true or accurate, but I heard that.
That's so funny. Imagine if she tried to play it off like it had nothing to do with the money.
Self-made.
Yeah.
I worked hard for this money.
What's your last point?
My last point is caving. Have you guys seen that shit?
It's fucked up.
Oh, when
I
they
have
dive
seen-
underwater.
yeah,
Bro,
I've heard a lot of stories of people dying. In
Yeah,
the
yeah,
caves,
yeah.
Bro,
Bro,
Heads
it's-
down for fucking 6 days and shit. They try to get him out. And
for some reason it's all over my TikTok and that. And like, these are big dudes. They're not like skinny. Like, if I was my size, hectic. I'll go caving all day. I can fit in fucking any little nook and cranny. You know what I mean? I'm pretty
bet you
small. Yeah. These guys are pretty fucking big dudes, and they're filming themselves and they're like, oh, see that hole there? I can just get my waist doesn't even fit in it. I'm going to crawl through it. It's like, whoa, what the? And all the comments like, bro, like, are you? And these guys literally film themselves explaining how to wedge. Like, so apparently it's like, even if you get, say, like waist deep in a hole and you can't go any further, you can still get through by the way you move and wriggle, and it's got to do with like your breathing and all shit like that. And these cunts are wedging themselves through. It's fucking, if you got like claustrophobia, it's fucking scary shit, man. Like, and I remember, did you guys remember ever doing that like camp in school, primary school, where they took you caving? Did you do that? Nah?
No.
Bro,
I went caving.
they did that at Claregate. And there was like little kids and shit like that. Like, they were crying and shit because they don't want to go through these holes and shit. It was fucking pretty gnarly, man. Like,
Imagine being a teacher and you're telling these kids, go in that cave. They're just like crying
they
in the
just
cave.
sit outside and you're like, go on, do it. Like, oh, you're going to fucking fail this bushcraft camp. Like,
I mean,
fuck
you
that.
couldn't pay me to do that shit.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
you strike me as a adrenaline junkie. I feel like you're not.
Nah,
What have you
not-
done?
nah, some do with caving, especially caving. Just I think it's the getting out part. You know what I mean? But some people are fine with that. I think it's just like they just biologically don't have that stress response.
Yeah.
But I can watch it and just be like, oh,
You start freaking out, eh? You're like,
like-
Adrenaline starts pumping just
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
these
yeah.
cunts.
Because they do the underwater versions as well.
Yeah,
where
where
they
that's
swim.
even worse.
Oh, is that what you're talking about? Or you're talking about
no,
just
both,
dry
both.
cave? Yeah,
Bro, there's
because
videos
the
of them
underwater
in
caves.
water, yeah.
Now that's anxiety times
Yeah.
10. Imagine just going under and you're like, obviously you know your way out, but all it takes is for you to just
One
make a
wrong
wrong
turn,
turn,
yep.
and then you're like, what? Like, how do you? Surely they do it with breathing apparatus, or probably not.
Yeah, but you only got like a certain amount of like
Time,
oxygen, obviously. In that
Yeah, exactly.
shit. Yeah, there's a hectic doco on. Remember when those Thai school soccer team? They got stuck in that cave in Thailand.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
There's a
I didn't hear about
documentary
that.
on that, man, and fuck, man, they had to save them. They had to dose them up with ketamine because they weren't going to be able to survive. Like they would panic on the way out because it was.
Yeah.
Can't remember the distance, but it was a big distance, and so they had to get like these professional divers in, dose them up with ketamine, and in that way they could like basically, you know, sedate them enough that they're not going to panic the fuck out about what's going on right now because they had to put on like the stuff. Wow. And then like it was like, I don't know, wrong, but it's probably an hour or 2 hours to get out. But the cavers didn't know whether the kids were alive or not. So it could be 10 minutes in, kids freaked out and died. And they've got to take them all the way out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they drop one off, they go get another one. And they drop one off. And they didn't know when it, like if this was working. You know what I mean? Like,
Holy
it
shit.
was a trip, man.
I wonder if any of them asked for more ketamine after the experience. They're just like,
Crawls back in the
waiting.
cave.
Oh, excuse me, do you have more of that?
I feel pretty scared still. Sam.
Yeah.
Look, I've got 3 more questions we got in the Discord. There he is, Zexa. I knew he'd be lurking somewhere. So because he doesn't have a phone, he sent a couple questions in Discord. So we got one from M16. Update on the trading, any tips, notes, or anything important that you learned? Fuck. I guess we'll talk about this off air before, James. It's the important thing I learned is the psychological thing. So tips, it's just don't overtrade. So give yourself a number, whether it's 2 trades a day, 3 trades a day. Fuck, you can even set yourself to 5 trades a day. Do not over exceed that number. Personally, starting out, small account, 2 trades a day. That's juicy pussies, man. You make $20, you make $50, you make $200, whatever. Once you make that money, even if it's just $10, don't trade. That's it. Take your $10 and walk away. What about you? How you going? I'm sure you sent me. You were in profit a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just swing trading.
Just
Until
swing
I
trading.
get. I've put one trade on about 4 weeks ago, and I just waited, watched it go all the way down, and I knew it was gonna. I just knew.
Yeah.
And now it's finally back up. And the funny thing is, on your email, you get sent, and I keep getting from Pepperstone. I kept getting margin call, margin call, and I just ignore it. I'm like, yeah, I know. It means it's down, and then keep going up. I'm like, now I'm good, man. No more margin calls. Fucking
Margin calls when you're about to blow your account.
No, it's not. It's not though. I've learned they automatically stop you out too if it's too risky for them. They take out a little bit at a time. They don't stop you out completely. But it's just a warning that like it's going. You sure you want to keep doing
south,
this? Yeah. But now it's up, man. And Green, I'm just gonna. I don't know. Just until I get more money to play with, I'm just gonna swing trade. I think.
So that's the tips of that psychology, man. And then Zexa says, did you hear any theories about the MH370, about the plane that went missing? Okay, yeah, this was ages ago, wasn't it?
There's a new doco that's just out on Netflix. Sal and I watched it. Like it's a 3-part series.
Oh, as in like recent?
Yeah, real recent. Like if you look at your Netflix now, it's probably like number 3 or 4 most.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
But yeah, watch it. It's fucking cool, man. Like not cool because a plane went missing and like 200 and something people died.
Yeah.
But yeah, the theories are pretty like I don't want to spoil it because you got to watch it. But it's basically like how on earth does a fucking passenger jet just disappear? Like disappeared between China and I can't remember where it was, but it was weird because it was right between 2. So when you're flying a plane, like you kind of touching base with whatever country's
closest
radio signal, so you stay in touch. And as it's going, and like they sign off as they go into the next airfield, like the next region. And so you hear the dude sign off, like the pilot. He goes, "Yep, sweet." And then like on the radars, watching it, and you can see this little plane beep beep beep. And as soon as he signs off, it's like 30 seconds later, just goes boom, gone.
Really?
Yeah, and then never found it. So, and they cross over they say that there's like a particular path that it was meant to take, and like people reckon they found ruin. There's just it's a real interesting story.
If it was over the ocean though, would it be possible to just went crash and then just sink and then that's that? Like how are they supposed to find it? Or are they saying that they would have found something before it got to the bottom? You know what I mean?
Like they sent out search parties and started looking in that exact area where it did go down. But then, without kind of spoiling it, there's like another GPS company that like says, "Oh, we've actually got ping backs from where it was, and it was all the way over here." So then all the search goes over there, and it's just a clusterfuck, man. Like the Malaysian government they've fuck shit up all the time, and then there's all these different people involved. It's good. By the time I got to the end of it, I'm like, something's definitely sus.
Yeah.
So sus.
I thought they found debris or something from it recently. Was that wrong?
Wasn't it fake debris? They're saying it's fake. Could be fake debris.
I don't know too much about it, but I just thought they discovered something. I don't know.
They say that they find like there's people with pictures, and then there's like certain islands where like things have washed up, and they go, oh, we think that's part of the causeway, the carriageway, whatever they call it or whatever. But it's like then where's the rest of the plane? And like it's funny because when you, as all good documentaries do, or any show, like you get this piece of evidence or this new thing happens, you're like, all right, we've figured it out, all right. And then someone else comes in with like this opposing view that goes, yeah, but this, and you're like, oh, but that,
Wow.
fuck, I'm back to square one again. Like,
Wow. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
do you guys remember the theory on that where people were saying
Bermuda Triangle? I heard.
No,
It was over the Bermuda Triangle.
But remember, people were saying that there was messages of the SOS, like beep, 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 like Morse code, and then when they translated it, it was like that they're here, the aliens have taken us and shit. Like it was just this wacky ass theory on Reddit and shit. Do you guys remember that at all? No.
I don't know about that.
I feel like that is just trying to double onto the thing that's already a conspiracy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like the aliens did it. You know what I mean?
You never know, though.
Yeah, true.
But
Imagine that you're in a plane, you're just a passenger, and you just see a UFO in front of the windshield.
I'd be like,
of the
for
plane.
fuck's sake.
That sucks you up and shit.
that'd be the worst way to go because you can't stop it. And if you survive, no one will believe you anyway.
It's like the start of the Dark Knight one with Bane. Like as it goes, the plane goes over the top. It's like links onto it.
Like fuck. Yeah, fuck. Okay, so 2 more points that we've got asked. Again from M16 shout you. What's the craziest experience you've had while high or tripping? Feelings, things you saw or heard.
Say it again.
Craziest experience you've had while high or tripping out.
I think with the DMT has to be your crazy.
Yeah.
DMT, but in terms of like it was, but in terms of there was this one trip down south I took with my mates in Kiama, and like it was like we had mushrooms in the morning with our bacon and egg rolls, and like 2 hours of that trip. At some point, 2 hours of that trip, I like left my body. So this is my vessel, and I was just hovering, like Sims, the game Sims. I was almost like doing this, like my own ooga booga. Like I wasn't in my body, but I was just over it.
That's crazy.
But for 2 hours, I was non-responsive, which was kind of scary to my friends. Yeah, so my friends would go, Joey, and I was like, but I was non-responsive. I couldn't talk, but I was talking like.
Wait, what was this on? Just shrooms?
Just shrooms. But we had like 3.5 grams in like first thing in the morning. So imagine like breaking your fast, like breakfast with mushrooms in there. So we were just full fucked. But like for 10 hours, right, this whole trip was. But for 2 of those hours, like I said, as soon as my soul left my body, I just was non-responsive. Like not scary. Like I wasn't like just sitting there like. But I was almost like you could just yell at me and I'd just be like, just doing my own thing. Like it's still in the conversation, but and then I convinced myself that my friends didn't want me there and they wanted me to like fuck off. So I was like, I'm like, oh, I just got to go to sleep. And they're like, what? And they know, and they know when you're on mushrooms as well, you don't want to sleep. It's just like, and then anyway, I went in my room and I put like my blankets over my head, and then apparently like I wasn't in the room, but I was still in the conversation with them. And then they were just like talking and shit. And one of them said something hilarious. And because I was still in part of the conversation, but not in the room, they all were laughing. And apparently they heard me laugh, like laugh at what he said. And they're like, what the fuck? They come in, they pull back the blankets. I'm just like wide-eyed, like not sleeping at all. But I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I felt like you didn't want me there. He's like, what the fuck? You
had a trip out moment.
Yeah, but no, that was pretty fucking intense.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What about you, James? Have you had any crazy experiences?
I don't know, man. Like I remember back in the bad old days, used to like when we were like 17, 18, like used to like first started smoking weed. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it was like, whoa.
The days, yeah.
And we were coming back from the city. It was after a big night. But I remember there was like 3 of us in the car, and it's nothing like that. But I don't know what, going through some intersection or whatever, but it was like we didn't really say anything, obviously, but then we got to like maybe what felt like maybe 5 minutes, and then everyone kind of went like, wait, when the fuck did that happen? Like it was that whole like, weren't we just back there? And it's like, and then of course we were a little bit fucked up.
Yeah.
We're like, oh man, I think we just time traveled. And then we did that, but if we did, that would be what it was like, you know. What I mean? But we were having conversations up into it, and I don't know, maybe we all just zoned out for a little while. But
wow.
yeah, and then I don't know.
While so driving too, that's fucking crazy.
I wasn't driving.
Yeah, wow. What about you, DZ? Anything?
No, not really, man. Pretty average. I've never done psychedelics, anything, you know. So.
Yeah, mine was probably one of the times would have been definitely camping on shrooms. That was fucking another level. That was another level, man. I was fucking like, whoa.
Another dimension, eh?
Bro, that was crazy. But yeah, so I explained that story on the other episode anyway. And then the last question that we have for the day. Shout out to Zexa, #1 fan. This is a good one. He says, how do you deal with people who judge your character? Go first, DZ.
Just do you, man. Just ignore them. People are going to always say something. You know, it's the old saying, opinions are like assholes, you know. Everyone's got them, man. Everyone's going to have a fucking opinion. Doesn't matter what you do. The most famous person, the best person you look up to, your favorite person on earth has thousands of haters. Thousands of people and an asshole. But there's tons of people who hate them and hate everything they do. So, you know, fuck it, man. You really just got to tune out. Just focus on what's in front of you. That's really the most important thing. You know, don't worry about internet shit. Don't worry about this. Just what's in your immediate circle, in your immediate life. That's what's important. You know, just focus on that, man.
Yeah, because off the back of that, it's just like ruins your peace to think of something else that you can't control. You know what I mean? Like, your inner peace, like you can't help what other people are going to say or think about you or whatever.
That's a big one.
Yeah, but like also the friends you do have love you for who you are, so that's all you should really, you know what I mean, adhere to. Everything else is just like, oh well, my real friends know how it really is. Like they can't, if they don't like my character, then it is what it is, I guess.
Fuck them. You know, if anything people say about you is a reflection on how they feel about themselves, really deep down. Because
that's like this motherfucker. If anyone has something bad to say about James, like it's more of a.
It's the other person.
The other person, bro. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
When I heard you say that, I was listening. It was my birthday too. I was driving in the car, and then you're saying all these nice things about me. I'm like,
it's true though. So yeah, I mean,
you can get along with anyone on a deep level if you really get to know them, man. Yeah. People who don't really know you, they know your surface level, the character you're playing on the outside. You know, they're gonna. It doesn't matter, man. You and don't stress about things you can't control. I was saying that earlier today. That's a huge thing, man. People stress about government and banks and shit, and you can't control it. Don't stress. Same thing with people's opinions about you. Just do the best you can, and that's it, man.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what do you got to say to the listeners about that, man?
People's opinions, like you said, it's a reflection on them, man. Like, I mean, in certain sense, if someone's got a constructive opinion on you, or then yeah, it's especially if you respect them, then I think, you know, it's important to be able to reflect, not just say, fuck it, I am the way I am, you know what I mean? But more often than not, if it's something like this, someone's going to have a negative opinion on you. And again, it's a lot of the people that have those opinions are the unhappiest people.
Exactly.
If they're,
right.
Especially if they're likely to tell you, like if they're going out of their way to pull you down or to make comment on the character you are, like, I remember Rogan put a thing up once saying about trolling and comments and stuff like that, and he's like, "You reckon Michael Jordan's ever left like a bad comment on someone's Instagram post?"
Yeah, exactly.
People who are happy, people who are doing shit, they don't. You know what I mean? So if someone's going out of their way to pull you down,
they're nerds.
99.9, probably 100%, they're not the type of person you want to be.
That's so true, actually.
Right, exactly.
They don't do it.
That's why all you TikTok fucking sooks haven't cried on TikTok and YouTube and, you know, yeah, like yous are just fat little fucking nerds. Your parents don't love yous and yous live in your mum's basement. That's all it is. Like, you know what, Zexa? Fuck them cunts, right? Don't worry about them, all right? You're not an NPC, bro. You're the main character on the quest, bro. So if anyone's got anything negative to say about you, bro, that's on them. If you know you're a good person deep down, bro, that's all that fucking matters, right?
Yeah.
Just
all
be a
that
good
fucking
person,
matters,
man.
bro.
Anyway, you got anything else to say?
I think that's it for me, man.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty well. I
Joey,
feel like I left on a good note just then.
Yeah,
Positive note.
Positive.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
James, anything else you want to?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, bro.
Guys-
Sorry it took so long.
Hopefully we can get it done again.
Yeah,
soon.
we'll do it again 100%. Guys, thank you so much. Joined here by the Egyptian Thunder God and the White Vanilla Sandstorm. Jimmy Too Huge, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Pleasure
boys.
to have you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Episode 50. The next one's a special.
Yeah, we can
Episode
dress up?
6.
Will we dress up?
Dress it up, bro.
Bring a costume, man.
Yes, all right.
Can we
Let's
do a
do some
theme?
shots.
We'll figure out a theme.
All right,
Let's
guys.
drink, bro.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Shoo.